Hello. I see Trigal, the first one here. Highlight. Oh yeah, I added some new characters to the thing. I think I added everyone that needed to be added. Yeah. We have some new ones. Hi Lucky, hi Angel, Supernova, Rex. You caught fuck, what's her name? Myth's character. Starts with an A, I think. Or has an A in it. Why can't I remember the name? Akarani, thank you. Sorry, Myth. I'm getting used to all the new characters. Oh, there's lights. I need to switch out the Eclipse one for the new villain. But I gotta make that still. So for now, you have Eclipse. OMG, it's shorts. Oh, we have Marcelo still. I need to make a Friedrich one, I think. We have Kron. Hi, CJ. Speaking of Kron. Hi, Truffle. Pancake! You're banned. This Lore Tuesday seems to be pretty chill. It might be kind of long. We have close to 40 entries, I think. So we'll be here for a few hours, but that's okay. Zakarani again. I'm very proud of that one. Light's character has such an intricate design. I'm not sure that I was able to fully capture it. But I tried. As usual, we're going to start with the lore sheets. And then we're going to move on to Lore Tuesday. Ooh, what are you crocheting? Also, is anyone in art fight? This is unrelated, but if anyone is in art fight this year, drop your art fight. Get my profile. I'm making like 50 attacks or more this, I almost said this season, this art fight this year. Oh no, comment. Yeah, that's mine. Follow me. I will follow you back. I will attack you. Three of Akarani today. Alright, we're gonna get into it. Let's go. We're doing the lore sheets first, and then we are getting into Lore Tuesday, which is gonna be very long. We'll see. We have Zenithra's Solon, very close to my sibling's name. A traveling priestess from the planet of Edria, Adria, perhaps, to spread the word of Luminous Order with her knight to protect her. And Elsie, a traveling spirit from the planet of Eldria, to give the priestess of the Luminous Order messages from the light. Ominous. I like it. We have Krufix lore sheet. Let's go. My goat. Krufik, real name Anya Chernova Navka. Navka was a name given to her by her enemies. When she lost her everything, she lost herself. Forgetting who she was before was a blessing rather than a curse, but her memories are coming back. Now she's losing everything she worked so hard to get back, and now she's losing herself. One could only pray for those who cross her. My goat! We have Cairo. Oh my gosh, Vire is back. After their host had been burned into a crispy little TV nugget during Season 6, Rip Bozo. Vire was eventually brought back by Rin with backup USB that somehow survived the winter ball. Now, with no real goal to follow nor knowledge of the crash, they plan to eventually go out and search for their friends and maybe make rituals. Alright. Yeah, I don't know how USB would survive that winter ball event. I have the second page. Like I said, I'm only reading the backstories so I can get through everyone's stuff every time. Turn down the music for myself a little bit. We have Archie, the architect. He was one of the many skilled figures kept by Magos, but he was freed by the crash. Now he works in the city of the Hollow Valley as the branch head of the Stone Movers. Yo? Interesting. More connection between Magos and Gabriel. Played by Nyx. Interesting. Oh yeah, I heard Nyx is like... Bagel has Nyx working the mines. Literally. There's another one with Solons? Yeah, I got that one. Elsie. There's two. Solon and Elsie. Also, hi, Frog. We have Supernova, Marana. Oh my gosh. Her description of herself. I'm a friendly goddess who got stuck on this terrible planet. All I want to do is make friends and hopefully make my dream come true. I'm not great at making friends as I only made a few, Milena and Kron. Unfortunately, Milena died in a freak accident, which I had no part in. Now I am all alone again, and creatures on this twisted planet have been threatening me, especially a dragon and ghost. It makes me so sad seeing all this hatred on this planet. Hopefully, I get to meet a lot of wonderful good people with good souls. I'm always looking for more friends and followers. Ooh. We, those who were here last season know what happened there. That mysterious freak accident was maybe not so much of a freak accident. Kita Hisoka. 6-7 years younger than Krufik. Unironically. Hasn't done much but sticks to himself since arriving on Solace. He's rarely seen and things he does remain a mystery. Will occasionally hang out with Krufik and Mars. Has the ability to split himself apart into 3 people. Oh yeah, I remember Kia. Nice. And then we have more art for Alice's sheet. Awesome. On to Lore Tuesday. From Eros. So people memorialize deaths here. That's so interesting. I could care less for those who've fallen at my feet, and here they build statues and physical graves with a party called a funeral. I love when people... Wait, I feel like I saw this... No, we saw this already. This was all during Lore Tuesday last time. Hold on, we saw this. This was after the stream. This was after this... Well, no, I... Wait, this was after the stream. Yeah. I think... Yeah, I read this one, and then the stream started. I don't remember if I read this one. We did the airsoft biology thing. Did I read this one? I don't remember. I guess we'll find out. Sorry. I don't think I did. It was like that. Okay, so we did read this one. No, this has Trigal. I don't remember. Yeah, I didn't read Lights. All right. To grab a water bottle. It was a gloomy day. The sky was dark with clouds that threatened to spill their burdens of water. As usual, rain was often on Solace. Light never minded it, even as the weather always made her prosthetics ache fiercely. She couldn't even stand properly today. As good as her uncle was when it came to crafting these prosthetics, the ache never truly went away, especially since the injuries were so new. The dragon was used to it by now. Now that she had her bag back, she had already taken one of her potions to make the pain go away. It'll take time, but the medicine will make it go away soon enough. The dragon's ears twitched to the sound of footsteps. She turned and noticed a girl with brown hair walking towards her. Light remembered her. It was Trigel. She had been at the memorial. It would appear that she had found her. With a groan, she got to her feet. She leaned on her cane, wishing that her body didn't feel so awful. Trigel, hello, she said, giving the younger girl a kind smile. She would not let her aches and pains foul her mood with Trigel. What brings you out here? Hi, Light, Trigel smiled back. Do you have a minute? I was hoping I could ask for your help with something. Sure, Light said with a nod. Let's walk down to the event hall. The sky looks like it's about to pour on us. Light led the way down a staircase to an unfinished building, likely the event hall. The pair walked inside before the dragon turned to the younger girl and tilted her head slightly. Now, what is it that you want my help with? Trigel glanced around nervously. This is gonna sound weird, but I kind of have a demon in my head. I know you said you can see spirits, so I was hoping you could maybe, I don't know, see it? Light seemed to pause, as if surprised. She muttered something under her breath before she took a sharp breath. A demon, you say? She said calmly. Her expression had shifted from kind to serious. I'm no expert on demons, since my talents lay more in the realm of the dead. However, I will see what I can do. Do you mind if I cast a spell on you? It won't do anything negative, it will only pull the demon into my sight, so I can see what we are working with. The human hesitated, then nodded. Okay, please do whatever you need to do. Just don't believe anything it says. The dragon nodded. She moved a bit away. She pulled chalk from her bag and drew a circle. At each cardinal point, she placed a piece of amethyst. Then she drew a bigger circle around that, placing crystal daggers into the ground in the empty areas where the amethysts weren't. Then she stood in the middle. Stand right beside me, she said in a firm tone. Be careful not to break either circle when you do. Cautiously, Trigel stepped over the line and planted herself next to Light. The dragon took a deep breath and pulled out a ceremonial-looking silver dagger from her belt. She dragged the blade across her palm, drawing golden blood to splatter into the circle's center. The circles, crystals, and daggers started to glow as she began to chant in an unfamiliar language. Light's left eye started to glow as the spell went on. Her gaze shifted from Trigel to the space above the human. She waited for the demon to show itself to her. Her chanting came to a stop when the demon manifested beside Trigel. It took the form of her little brother, the one taken in the Great Anomaly. Her expression became very hard to read, almost impossible. Underneath that mask was a fury that would have made her magic lash out if she was a mage with little control. How dare this being take the form of someone she loved so dearly? How dare this being disrespect the dead in such a manner? Her eyes narrowed. So, you're the demon in Trigel's head, she said. Quite rude of you to take the form of someone who had died. The thing tilted its head and stared back at her. Odd. I've never seen one of your kind. Tell me, what is it you desire most in this world? Nothing you can give me, Light replied in a blunt tone. Certainly not anything I would speak to you about. It narrowed its eyes, and a sudden chill passed through the air. I see. Tell me, how many people have you failed to save? Don't you wish there was more you could have done? And what about your curse? I could help you, you know, if you just... Light snarled loudly, cutting the demon's speech off. Don't you dare speak of those I've lost or failed to protect. She spat as her wings puffed up. Don't you dare talk about my curse as if you can cure it. You are a manipulator, a liar. You simply want to use me for your own gains. It smiled at that and nodded. Yes, it agreed. Then, within the blink of an eye, the entity lunged forward, its hands arching towards her like claws. Light stepped back and swiped her foot across the inner circle, cutting the spell off. The being vanished. The magic that hummed in the air slowly faded. She took a sharp breath and looked at Trigel, her eyes ablaze with a restrained fury. Trigel, she said softly through it. It held a hint of anger. What the fuck is that thing? I love when Light doesn't swear very often, but when she does, it's always, like, perfect. What the fuck is that thing? Your greed sickens me being the name of the document is so funny. Okay. Did we look through all of this? No, we didn't. We did not. Okay. This is, Ursot biology. I think I actually pronounced that correctly this time. Right. Okay. Though Ursots often have preferences on what form they take while hunting, whether big or small, bipedal or quadruped, an Ursot will always have a form that they return to. This natural state of Ursots is called its root form. a shape that can easily maneuver small spaces and narrow tunnels due to the lack of bone in its body. It's theorized that all calcium intake is immediately focused towards the repair and creation of more teeth. Oh! Lovely. Skin. An Ursat's skin is a pink/red flesh color. Veins and arteries on visible display with a mucous membrane that builds up on the outer layer to help with movement and cleanliness. It's also been theorized that this mucus increases the speed of healing. Though it seems fragile, Ursat's skin is incredibly durable to piercing and cutting blows from enemies. Its only current known weakness is that of extreme temperatures like fire and freezing. Eyes. The number of eyes on an Ursat is telling of the age, as elder Ursats have a lesser number of them. Spawn often have many, likely to give them an advantage on surroundings to protect themselves. Ursat's eyes are always black. There has never been another recorded variant of eye color. This is one of the only things that Ursats cannot change in their mimicry. This along with the presence of their true mouth. An Ursat mouth is easy to identify. A long pink seam will run across the mimic's face and torso. Within are rows upon rows of sharp teeth several inches long. An Ursat loses up to 50 to 70 teeth a year on average, as new teeth are growing in constantly. With a long tongue, the Ursat can drag its prey into its large mouth and eat it whole. Alright, hear me out. I think it would be really funny if Rex tried to eat Freya. Because that's just like it's just skin. Like, she doesn't have any, like, and she's so, let's be honest, kind of dumb and, like, doesn't understand, like, what's the word? Not gullible, but, like, naive. She doesn't know. Like, Rex doesn't eat friends? Oh, damn. I think it'd be really funny, though. I just imagine the big mouth open behind her and she's just like, la-di-da. Freya could make food for Rex that are shaped like people or whatever. What do Ursats like to eat? I don't remember. Limbs. Ursats have a number of tendrils that it will use for hunting and digging. Retractable claws hidden inside are strong enough and sharp enough to slice through tree bark and bone. Worry not, an Ursat cannot cut through glass or metal, so hiding yourself within a vehicle or behind a metal door will keep you safe from harm. Healing factors and regeneration. If an Ursat is damaged by, for example, a forest fire, it will split off the damaged parts of its body and regrow to its original size over time. Killing an Ursat with only a firearm or knife will prove to be difficult, as it has multiple hearts, brains, and stomachs all in different spots in the body. Each organ is unique to each Ursat. As long as a brain remains unharmed, the Ursat can completely regenerate itself within a week, give or take, depending on diet. Next up will be the steps you take if you become the prey of an Ursat. Stay tuned, Dr. M. The life cycle. Spawn average length 1 to 2 meters. Adult average length 3 to 4 meters. And elder average length 5 to 6 meters. That is terrifying. Wow. So that's what Rex really looks like. Probably this one, I'm guessing. This middle one. At the end of the season, I still had almost all carrots. Why did... Wait, yeah, why? Who's giving out the carrots? Is it CJ? Kron gave Frog stacks upon stacks of carrots at one point. Oh, wow. Squishy? Cute? Surely this isn't the same Rex as the funny little human on the server. Truly not. I think it's just similar, you know, people have the same name. What to do if you become prey. Easy steps to keep you alive. Why is my face there? What to do if you have become prey. If you have become the prey of an Ursat, you are likely outside of a city setting and alone. Perhaps you are a lost hiker or a runaway. The reason doesn't matter. If you can hear the cries of an injured or distressed person nearby, this means it already knows where you are. Here are some steps you can take to escape an attack, but bear in mind, Ursats prefer to hunt animals instead of humans, so the likelihood of this situation arising is low. The percentage of likelihood rises when food is scarce. Stay calm and slowly return the way you came. If the sounds stop, you are not being pursued and are safe. If the sounds continue, you are being followed. Quickly create a campfire. It doesn't have to be large. The presence of it alone will ward off any attacks, as all Ursat fear fire above anything else. When the sounds have stopped, this means that Ursats have given up and you are free to continue back the way you've come. If the sounds persist, the Ursat is especially hungry. It may attempt to mimic the appearance of another hiker, a friend or loved one, trying to lure you away from the fire. Do not leave... Oh man, it's so perfect that there are so many, like, mimics and stuff this season. I just think that's so perfect. You guys don't know why yet, but it's so perfect. I love all of your lore. Do not leave your campfire, no matter what it says. It will be very convincing. Remain near your fire till morning. By the time the sun comes up, the Ursat should have left the area due to their nocturnal habits. Return to civilization as soon as possible and contact your nearest authorities about increased Ursat aggression. If you cannot create a campfire, your safest bet is to bargain with the Ursat. They are intelligent creatures, and if you offer to give them your food that you currently carry, it will spare you. This can be anything. Though Ursat prefer meat, they are not picky when it comes to food that people eat. One Ursat in our files was recorded to be very fond of sweets, such as Oreos and Reese's peanut butter cups. By giving them your food, you will not make a friend, but you will convince them to be merciful. If you cannot offer a substitute, pray! Ooh! 4 college students had gotten drunk and wandered into the Dulcie Woods on the night of February 22nd, 2482. Troy Adam, the victim, was abandoned as a test or prank. If he made it back to the campus in the morning, then he was worthy. The boy did not last through the night. Within an hour, the boy was eaten. Police searched the woods and tracked down the Ursat that had eaten him, confirming the boy's death through the extraction of hair and teeth from the stomach of the Ursat and questioning. The college students responsible were arrested and charged with third-degree murder. Give them Olive Garden. It's not canon! Olive Garden is not canon! Ursat, just another me for real. Have you guys had peanut butter Oreos? Virgil loves them. I also love them. And then we have recorded May 4, 2413, and Ursat using the voice of an injured hiker to draw in prey. That was really terrifying. Oh. Where the hell do you find these things? Yeah, all of this is really good. Like, I'm curious what all of your... Because you're very talented. You do, like, audio stuff. You do, obviously, a lot of writing, art. Yeah, did you have someone, like, voice it for you, or... Hi, Thor! Rex actually made the audio by shooting a guy in the leg in the woods. Every time I record myself screaming, I'm so nervous about who hears me. Yeah, wow. Maybe, hey, like, if you ever want to do so, I love doing audio stuff. Hee. I'm gonna have some opportunity for that later in the season. Alright, from Light. This music is not as fitting for the current mood. Warning brief mention of blood and nosebleed. Welcome back, Freya. The cricket's songs filled the night air around Light as she stared at the missing poster of her dad. It was the first thing when she first walked out of the medical tent back when she had gotten her new prosthetics. It was Zinnia who had come to her when she started to cry. It was her sister that explained about what happened to SUNC when no one else had bothered to tell her anything, who had reassured her that they would go looking for Waters together. It was something Light appreciated greatly. The dragon still felt bitter about that, though she kept that bitterness buried deep so she wouldn't lash out on anyone who didn't deserve it. Still, she had taken her buried anger out on trees and rocks, anything to keep her from lashing out at someone she cares about. Once she had made the mistake of using magic in a fit of anger. She'd accidentally made a tree that looked similar to her tree. At least this fit of magic had a good effect and did not kill the forest on the mountain. Still, Light decided it was best to restrain from using magic out of anger next time. That spell alone had her dealing with a nosebleed for hours. That and Lucky and Croy scolding her for using so much magic after just healing. Her ears twitched. Footsteps. Light almost not there. A distant presence that felt there and everywhere at the same time. The dragon knew before she even turned around who was behind her. She turned fully to get a look at the person behind her. Freya, the Lumeran. She was back. The dragon wasn't sure how to feel about that. She had always had complicated feelings regarding the former leader of the Keepers of Solace. There was a long moment of silence. The dragon stared at Freya with a hard-to-read expression. Freya, Light said as her tail swayed behind her. You're back. I am, Freya replied, her gaze lowered to look at Light's prosthetics. Light had a sense that Lumeran was feeling guilt for what had happened, for leaving everyone. She was sure that Freya was blaming herself. The dragon closed the distance between them and pulled the older woman into a gentle hug. The crash wasn't your fault, Light said after she pulled away. She still held Freya's shoulders in a firm grip. You weren't here. You had no sway over the events nor the actions of the people or others. I knew full well that I might get hurt when I had gone back to save a child. I had accepted that, and that was my choice, just as it was your choice to leave. Light released the Lumeran's shoulders and stepped back. She offered a small smile to the older woman. Freya looked at the dragon with a hint of shock, certainly surprise. Light was sure if the woman could cry, she would. Are you not angry with me? The Lumeran asked tentatively, as if she wasn't sure she should ask, let alone like the answer. I am, Light replied honestly. She wasn't about to lie to Freya. However, I am only angry with the actions, or lack thereof, regarding the threats of the previous era, especially the lack of actions that led to my death. My anger does not blind me as it does others, not all the time at least. I recognize that you were learning, trying your best with what you had. It just grew frustrating when you continued to make the same mistakes, especially when it came to holding events with criminals at large. It felt like you weren't listening to any of us. Freya seemed to wilt when she was reminded of the previous era. She looked down at her feet as her hands raised to fiddle with Marcello's coat. I'm sorry, Light. I am. I know, Freya, but there is saying sorry and there is proving that you actually mean what you say. Light took a sharp breath and looked back at Water's missing person board, a knot forming in her chest. She forced herself to look back at Freya. For the first time in a while, she allowed the blank mask to slip, just enough for the fear the Anisir felt to peek through. It was real, genuine fear that had centuries built up. I'm afraid, Freya, she said softly. I'm afraid that one day your mistakes will end up hurting me again, or someone I care for, or even the faction I now run. I can't wait for you to continue making the same mistakes over and over again until it gets through to you that you should change. If you are truly sorry, Freya, you need to prove it to me and to the others. Freya thought about Light's words for a long while, long enough that the dragon worried that the Lumeran wasn't going to speak to her. Then the older woman nodded. I understand, she said, trying to sound brave, maybe even confident. I'll do my best to prove to you, to everyone, how sorry I am. Light watched the Lumeran carefully before nodding, accepting the answer. I'll hold you to that, the dragon replied. She hesitated, then offered a small half-smile. And for what it's worth, welcome back. Thanks, Light. I'm not sure if it's good to be back, though. That's all right, Light said with a shrug. It doesn't hurt to give this new era a try. Me when I wilt? I have full voice-acted interviews and audio logs in my Lorem along with a YouTube channel I'm making about Ersatz. Oh my gosh. That's you? Can I hire you to do screams for something definitely not coming up? I should have heard. Oh, I would have loved to hire you for like the audio logs from the Cabo crew, the group that went in. Oh man, I needed a good scream. We had some decent ones, but that one went great. Don't tell me we're getting another scary Freya moment. Why would we get a scary Freya moment? No, currently, what I do have planned that I could tell you guys about. I don't know which day it's gonna be. Maybe Friday or Saturday or something. But I want to do an event for the Navy to do something. If there's like something that you think would be nice for the Navy to do for people, let me know. We could do a lore event with that. Nothing bad will happen. I promise. I know I say it a lot, but like I want it to be a good, positive thing to like help demonstrate that the Navy is here to help people. You know, they've already made the resource center and like all this stuff or whatever. But if there's anything you think would be helpful, let me know. Give me some ideas. We have Shell, Hexon lore. You know, Bagel, I always appreciate that all of your lore is like one page. It's sweet and straight to the point. Charity. Good idea. Log 1. Where has he gone? Where are my brothers and sisters? I can't see them, but I can feel them. Curse this hollow shell and its inability to do my job. This shell, this wretched shell, this aching shell. Octopi have many interesting traits. Camouflage, being able to fit into tiny places, and intelligence. The shell is tired of eating them. Maybe there can be something down here that can help me find those who are lost. Where are you, Father? This hollow shell can see the boats they ride on the surface. Lilac expeditions. How would they benefit me? Exploration of planet True. Locating Father possible. Locating others possible. New traits from new sources of biomass. True. Maybe this will help with this shell's aching. I can definitely... The Hexon lore always, like, really... I don't even know much about Warhammer 40k, but I see the influence. We have Cairo lore. The malware returns.
Log 1. Recently I was brought back to hell by this lanky tall-ass thing. It's called Rin, I think. Somehow it found the backup USB protohead, or whatever. I don't care about details. I don't seem to remember much. Everything's just a blurry mess. But I do remember how I died.
How cherry.
I only had, what, like...
Yeah, no him ever done touch fire ever again. That shit hurt. I hope I can see Lynx, or Sam, or Nasus, and Lummy. I just want to see my friends. I miss them. End log.
I'm going to stay in Rin's cave for a bit. My head hurts like hell and I don't know why. Fuck this shit. VRO. End the log. Why is Vire low-key Italian? Marcello reference? Lore! Ooh, I don't even need the filter for this one. Sam 170698. Croy. Are you alright, Sam? It is Alfie. Or Croy. I'm not sure what name you are used to currently. I am. Alright, I believe, Alfie. It's been a while since I last heard from you. How have you been? Yes, it has been a while. I have been well for the most part. Kron is well also. They say hello. That's good. Tell Kron I said hello as well. What about you? Are you safe after the crash? Is that what that was? I remember seeing it, but since I lived pretty far away, it didn't really affect me. Just a lot of dust and ash everywhere now. I sort of thought it was an asteroid or meteorite, to be fairly honest. Ah yes, I can see why you would think that. We tend to get a lot of things of the sort crashing here, but I'm glad you were unaffected. I had not seen you since December, so I was worried for you. Right, since the incident. I have been home since December, needed some time to myself after what happened. And what was going on with you? Last I saw you, these protrusions were coming out of you. Oh, yes, that. I was fine. It was just the tar that I suppose is part of my form, which I can make stuff out of. I was holding up the ceiling so that people could get out. The ceiling fell in and I got lost for a while, but I was fine after getting out. Sort of. Oh, well, that is a rather interesting ability, I suppose. Much better than being invisible to practically the entire planet most of the time, at least, right? I suppose it can be, huh? Also, sorry, but you got lost? Like, in the building, or what was left of it? In the building... No. there was not much left to be lost in. It is a lot to explain. Maybe we could do it in person? In person? Look, I know you're not a fan of people, to put it lightly, and for very valid, good reasons. But if you would like, I can give you the coordinates for Kindlegrim, where it is settled now, and we can speak there. No one will even look at you, and we can go straight to my office. No people to listen. Or I can come to you? You live somewhere secluded, where there would not be people, so you may be more comfortable with that. The choice is up to you, Sam. I just want to make sure my friend is okay. Apologies for responding a bit late. I almost fell through part of my floor, but I think you coming here would be better. I'm sorry, you almost fell through your floor? Why is part of your floor missing? I thought you said you were not affected by the crash. No, I wasn't. It's just that I think the watchtower is starting to rot in some places here and there. It's mostly in the supports, since I made them out of interconnected logs from trees. Sam, the supports are one of the most important parts of that watchtower structure. They are rotting. That rotting will spread to the legs. Please, put 2 and 2 together. No, that's not what I'm saying. The legs are starting to rot, not the supports. Sorry, I get those mixed up sometimes. I think it's alright, though. I could probably fix it by waxing it. That is not alright. A strong wind will send it toppling over. Wax is not going to save it. Okay, look, could you come to Kindlegrim just for a bit? I can walk you to and from, just to get the proper supplies to fix the legs of the tower at the very least. Because I'm worried the next time I speak to you, you will tell me your watchtower is now split into 3 parts with an open roof aesthetic on the ground and embedded in tree leaves level. I don't think it'll split apart. Alfie, I'm fine, really. Besides, I just need to do some fishing to get food for my cat, so I can't just leave him alone. You can bring him along if you want. There is also a dock at Kindlegrim that we just finished building a few days ago where you can fish too. Are you sure? I am very certain, Sam. I do not want you getting hurt if it falls or if a certain mole gets any ideas. Right. I'm just a tad worried is all. It's just the last time I decided to go somewhere, I almost or did technically die. Even the more reason for me to check on you in person. Goodness me. I understand that you are worried, but I promise, there are lookouts in the faction. No one enters without my permission and knowledge. It will not be like the ball. You have my word. And if you ever feel uneasy, if you want to go, I can walk you back home. Okay. I'm assuming I don't really get to say no to this, so should I come there or wait for you to come here? I will make my way to you. I will be there soon, all right? Right. See you soon. It's nice to see people's characters actually still being affected from what happened at the ball, because that was pretty bad. That was probably second worst thing that happened last season. Balios had that aesthetic last season. Open roof aesthetic. Oh no. Ball knowledge. Why do I do this? You're about to see the first worst thing to happen in a moment. From Comet, please don't leave again. Oh, this is going to be fun and happy, I'm sure of it. Solitude. That's all Comet could ask for, and they finally got it. At least for now. They had built a small cabin out of the way of the community area on top of a hill, and seldom few knew of the location. Ibzivi, their daughter, Cam, who alongside being part of the Peacekeepers together had scouted out a location for lilac expeditions not that far away, and of course the rest of the Peacekeepers. The ones who were confirmed alive, anyway. No one had seen Waters since they locked him away in the freezer. SUNC was battered by the crash, and just after that there was a volcanic eruption followed by tsunamis which made searching the area near impossible. They had never stopped looking, even after Salations began a migration to a new area. Even just recently, Zinnia had begun putting up missing posters. Cam, alongside the rest of the Lilac, searched the outskirts of the new areas for any signs of the aquatic man. Mira, even in her grief, was working on a memorial for the victims of the crash and sorting out finding survivors. Comet was sifting through reports and data from search and rescue to find any sign of their friend. Even as time passed, even as it became more and more unlikely for them finding him alive, they did everything they could to find any sign of him. Comet's focused research was interrupted by a soft knocking at the door. Comet sighed, annoyed, before standing up from their desk and walking to the door, grabbing their axe along the way. Can anyone read on this planet? The sign clearly says trespassers will be axed. Comet unlocked the several locks on the door and yanked it open. What are you? Comet's voice trailed off as they saw the being standing before them. Freya looked up, hands gripping the edge of Marcello's jacket. Comet. Freya's voice cut off as Comet's axe clattered to the ground and she was pulled into a hug. She stayed silent. They stayed that way for several seconds before Comet pulled away. Where the hell were you? I'm sorry, Freya began before getting cut off. No, you ran away without even saying goodbye. I thought I would never see you again. You abandoned me. Freya stayed silent. He was my friend too. And then Bob... Comet trailed off for a second before shaking their head. He abandoned me too. Comet paused for a moment, their face racked with grief. And Waters! God, we still haven't found him after the crash. Comet's hand ran through their hair as they began to pace. They stopped before pulling Freya into a hug again. Never do that again. Please. The last word was quieter, whispered into her ear. I'm sorry, Freya responded, voice barely above a whisper. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Comet. I'm sorry. Angel lore. I missed hanging out with you. Flashbang, sorry. Salen and Angel had been walking all day, traveling and exploring Solace. It would be low-key funny if Freya just showed up at Truffle's door. We could do a Freya-Truffle interaction if you want. I don't know if Freya would know where their house is. Oh yeah, the art. Wait, hold on. I gotta show the art again. Where is it? It's so far back. This. Sorry, flashbang. Truffle's house on a mountaintop, kind of like on the outskirts of civilization. I don't know if Freya would know, because, like, she's not gonna go around and, like, knock on random people's doors, especially because she's probably just gonna get yelled at. But considering Truffle would probably want to work at the hospital. Huh. You got banana bread. Fuck, I want banana bread. Should I tell Virgil to get banana bread on his way home? If they have banana bread, please get banana bread. I want banana bread. He told me to make a grocery list because we're out of some things. Your mom made it. Banana bread is so good, especially when it has like walnuts in it too. It's amazing. Okay. Salen and Angel had been walking all day, traveling and exploring Solace. Angel had seen a lot of it, but Salen hadn't, so he explained a few things and pointed them out whenever he came across them. He was walking beside Salen, giggling at a joke the other boy had made. He had to stop for a minute, holding onto his cane tighter than he usually would. He was laughing harder than he had ever had in the last 2 years. Salen smiled, watching Angel. He really only let his nonchalant act drop around the other boy. Oh my god, Salen, you've got jokes today, Angel exclaimed, smiling with a laugh. His free hand held onto Salen's hand. He was holding it tightly. Well, what can I say? Can't I make jokes with my best friend? Salen questioned jokingly, letting Angel hold onto his hand. Angel leaned closer to him. Gay? The duo walked for another 3 hours. Gay positive? Pride Month. I'm pulling myself together. The duo walked for another 3 hours. Having to stop and rest in a cave since Angel was in pain and couldn't walk for much longer. He was tired too. Sorry. Salen and Angel sat on the cold ground, and Angel shivered a bit. He wasn't too close to Salen. He was always nervous to lean against his best friend. But Salen noticed, and he looked concerned. Angel, come here, he said. You're cold. You can lean against me. It's okay, he said, pulling him closer, not forcing him and allowing him to pull away if needed. Angel moved closer to Salen and leaned his head against his shoulder. I'm glad we're friends, Say, he mumbled, closing his eyes. Can we stay here for a bit? I'm tired. Salen smiled and nodded. Sure, we can stay. You need to rest for a little bit anyways. I could tell you were getting tired and the pain was getting to you, he said, his arm around Angel's shoulder. Salen sounded so concerned, so worried. I'm gonna get water after this one. It made Angel smile. It made him happy to know that there was someone who cared about him. Salen was colder than the ground of the cave, but he didn't care at the moment. Than the ground of the cave? Oh! Go to the hospital. All he wanted was his best friend. I missed hanging out with you, Say, Angel said before drifting off to sleep against his best friend. And they were best friends. History says they were best friends. From Cranberry! Wow, I've never made lore for a character before. This was so fun. Doomed Yuri Real. We get Yaoi, then we get Yuri. Let's go. They aren't established Yaoi yet. Oh. Unestablished Yaoi. I need water. I'll be right back. Pride Month spoiling us. You're so right. Entry number 1. Oh, my parents told me I'm going to help this planet very much. Right now, there's a terrible sickness in the world. Nobody can find a cure. It's killed millions. But with my body, doctors can try to find a cure. In return, my family will be paid handsomely. I hope they'll be all right without me. This room isn't terrible. I like the blankets. They keep me warm. There's lots of activities in here. I hope they replace these books once I finish them all. Entry number 2. The doctors are testing on me today. They told me it won't hurt. I don't believe them, but at least my pain tolerance is high. They also gave me a number, 004. There's a few other people being tested on. Basically 2 of them every demographic. 2 elders, 2 adults, etc. There's also 2 kids and 2 babies. I feel bad for them. They didn't have a choice in coming. The doctors just finished testing on me. They put a few needles in me, asked me questions, things of that sort. Today wasn't too bad. Entry number 3. It's more testing today. It still doesn't hurt too much since they have to let me recover to get proper results. They still teach me and the other teenager and the 2 kids. I didn't get to go to school much before this. Hopefully I can go home and teach this to my siblings. But it'll probably be a while before then. The doctors gave me fruit today. It was yummy. Entry 4. The other teenager's name is Sophia. I like talking to her. She's a lot more scared than I am, so I try to make her laugh, but I'm not the best at learning, so she teaches me in return. Sophia's nice. I like her a lot. Entry 5. I'm starting to hurt a lot more after testing. Sometimes I feel sore, sometimes my stitches reopen and I have to ask for a doctor to help me. Sophia is worried, but I tell her it doesn't hurt. The 2 kids are named Charlie and Tilly. They're silly. They get really scared during testing, though. Sophia and I read them books to help them feel better. I wish I could do more testing so they wouldn't have to, but I can't. Entry number 6. Today was hard. Testing hurts a lot more. And I see Sophia and Charlie and Tilly yet less. I wish they would give me more fruit. I like how sweet it tastes. I didn't get a lot of fruit at home since we were too poor. There's a silver lining to everything, I guess. But I still miss my friends. I want to try talking to the adults. Entry 7. The days have been blurring together. I don't feel like writing anymore because all the days feel like the same day. At least I saw Sophia and the kids today, but it was only in passing. Sophia looked sad. Entry 8. The doctors gave me the food I liked from the cafeteria, but I don't feel like eating it. I miss my friends too much. Testing still hurts. I wish Sophia and Charlie and Tilly were here. Entry 9. I haven't seen Sophia in 3 weeks. I haven't seen the kids in 2 weeks. I tried talking to the adults, but they look just as sad as me. I don't blame them. The fruit I like so much is called a cranberry. It's sour and tart, but also sweet. If you're eating raw cranberries, that's incredibly tart. I tried eating raw cranberries once. Don't recommend it. The doctors gave me some today. Entry 10. Testing still hurts a lot. I still haven't seen my friends. I'm so sore and tired. I hope they find a cure soon. Entry 11. I saw Sophia for the first time in 2 months. She wants to escape with Charlie and Tilly. She tells me once we leave, we'll run into the country and grow fields and fields of cranberries. We can't go back home. The doctors will know. Entry 12. We're leaving tomorrow. I'm taking this diary with me. I can't let the doctors have my only memory of this place. Entry 13. Everyone is gone. Sophia, Charlie, Tilly, all the doctors. I don't know where they went. Everyone in the world is missing. Where did they go? I'm going to take a spaceship and leave this stupid planet. The ship is telling me a planet called Solace has movement of people. I'm going there. I love you, Sophia. I love you, Charlie. I love you, Tilly. Where did you go? Art fight mention. Dropping my art fight again. I will attack you all. Truffle had a situationship with a flight engineer before coming to Solace. I did not know that. Even though Truffle wants to believe otherwise, he died in the Great Anomaly. Oh, that's so sad. From Shorts. Do you copy? Another morning aboard the SC Saren commenced as the ship hummed to life, its low but familiar melody vibrating against the carbon and polished plate decks of the walkways. The machines rotated in the inner workings of the craft, keeping the gravity on board stable. Pumps of oxygen hissed from the hidden pipes that ran all along all compartments throughout, which they did precisely every dusk and dawn to start and end a day. Outside, stars and aurora-like nebulae in the distant void glinted across the glass of the observation windows, spilling a bright but welcomed rainbow hue across the cabin. The sound of soft footsteps fades in from entrance E, echoing against the walls with lazy urgency, and a distant grumble can be heard. A woman appearing to be in her late 20s entering from the door. She brushes the flyaway hairs off her face, slicking them into her lazy morning bun, stopping every so often to slide on a pair of heeled flats, which were getting tangled in a long cotton skirt. They settle against her feet, and she is finally able to steady her pace, making a turn to an authorized section of the crew module. The hall lights up in a sensorized purple haze as she meets the pressurized door, a security protocol many around here have become accustomed to. She pulls the lanyard up and over her head with a practiced ease, presenting the barcode to a digital reader. Welcome, Florence Esther. A green accepted flashes across the screen, and the door opens with a zip, the purple lighting behind her switching to a welcoming green. Esther filters into the room, allowing a few steps before the door closes up behind her. As she does, her blue eyes find her station nearest a wall, devices already up and running thanks to her crewmates setting up since arriving earlier. She makes her way over, pulling out a hovering seat that dips below her weight before returning to its original height. With one knee over the other and a lean-back posture, she begins daily checks. All programming and systems functioning without trouble. No personnel mishaps or incident reports. Just another calm day of drifting to their next destination. Calm. That's what she would like to have happen, but what's a crew without the hiccups? Right on cue, a fading-in yell beyond the heavy pressurized door catches Florence's ears, making her swivel around to investigate. As it hisses open, an older woman stomps in, crazy and curly copper hair swaying with purpose on her shoulders, and a booming accented voice. I leave for 1 cup of brew and immediately get orders up my... The lady steps falter as she notices the other presence in the room now, the caffeine in her hand sloshing just over the brim at the abrupt stop. She clears her throat, tone returning a velvety welcome. Well, morning to you, Florence. Mind my mess, just a rough morning, no? Florence offers an understanding smile, her gaze following the other woman as she scrambles for some napkins nearby to clean the spilled liquid. As the lady leans down, her lanyard catches just below her knees. Julie Klein, comms, it reads. Commander's on your case today? Florence teases. Her tease is met with a breathy scoff from Julie, who is now walking to throw the damp napkin into a bin beside her own desk. Taking a seat at her hovering chair, a groan leaves her lips. Madman he is. Said he thought he caught something on my radar last night. Can you believe that? He thought, not knew, thought. Florence laughs. Well, you know Commander and his hunches. Oh, you mean the hunch that brought us to a very active black hole a bit ago? I told him not to touch my radars after that, and yet here we are. He's still tampering. Florence laughs again, a little awkwardly at the memory. Watching Julie now give her undivided attention to her precious communication system, Florence, too, turns to her own devices, screens running normally. Her blue eyes dart to the hazard and anomaly logs, folder neatly arranged in a shelf at eye level, and the black hole incident comes flooding back. It was so long ago, a memory she and everyone else had moved on from too quickly. The scolding once they got back to their planet was an embarrassing one, after all. Everyone knows not to go within a certain distance of those things. She drops an elbow on the desk to create a stand to rest her chin, then turns to stare out of the observation window in front of the commander's seat in deep thought. How long had it been since leaving home? How long since she saw another human, another life form other than the ones here? Every planet they stumbled across felt deserted, and they couldn't understand why that was. Every soil sample, every scan and test didn't explain anything. Everyone just vanished. Her eyes blurred from zoning out, then snapped back into focus on the commander's seat. Vacant, untouched as it had been for a year now. Nelson Boyer. He isn't one to interact much with his crew, but he never neglects them either. Florence presses her lips into a thin line at the name. Not in repulsion. Never that, but maybe worry. A year ago, they'd come across a rather odd anomaly. It was something that should have been a walk in the park for people who specialize in this field of research, but it all went south during data collection and specimen testing. The specimens multiplied, then attacked, devoured. Half the crew gone without a proper burial. And the commander, laced with guilt, hadn't been able to face his remaining crew. Instead, spending all his time working on a defensive unit, and occasionally sneaking around whilst the crew slept to complete his normal task. Florence peeked at the commander's steering plans. Yesterday they'd been going east, and the day before, and the weeks before that, but according to Julie, said he thought he caught something on my radar last night. And for that, they were now heading westward. Florence cleared her throat loud enough for Julie to hear. Think we'll finally see some other humans? Or some crazy hybrids? New terrain? A silence falls over the both of them like a blanket, comforting and hopeful. It would be grand if we could finally find populated planets, in fact. Julie stands up from her chair, walking over to have a closer look out the window. I think we're close. See, there's this planet's moon, she points. Florence gets up excitedly, her flats clicking against the metal floor as she finds her way by Julie's side. And sure enough, there it was in all of its glory. A great big moon that shone even greater than any she'd seen before, as if it were shining for something, or someone. It's gorgeous. I wouldn't say it rivals our homeland's moons, but still. One of Julie's radars picks up on the object up ahead, and automatically sends that information to the trajectory. Just like that, the spacecraft subtly activates its thrusters and pulses to the right to avoid any major collision. The moon, now no longer an obstacle, reveals a planet, leaving Julie and Florence in shock. The glass of the observation window lit up in hues of reds and oranges, an impact site radiating off of the atmosphere. The once beautiful sight, an untouched, peaceful view, now a means of life and death for the inhabitants. The air in Florence's lungs left her in a weak gasp. The impact was maybe a couple minutes past, given the dimming light and clearing clouds. Both of them couldn't help but just stare in helplessness and shock, eyes wide and jaws slightly agape. Their feet frozen to the floor, and all senses faded away. They hadn't even heard the heavy rush of footsteps behind them, nor did they hear the heavy crew door opening until a firm hand clasped on both of their shoulders. Not the time nor place for gentle introductions. Startled, they both whipped around, snapped out of a daze. The commander? Klein, I need comm signals now! Without so much of a nod or acknowledgement, Julie stumbled in a run back to her station, and the commander followed alongside. She was now shaking tip to toe, struggling to get transmitters and processors up and ready. Meanwhile, the commander fumbled with a large radar screen, working to make a full detailed scan of the planet to see exactly what may have caused the collision. Satellites outside receive the scan signal, to which it formulates an accurate picture of the site up ahead. And by the looks of it, a crash. Purposeful or not didn't matter right now. People were either extremely injured now, or worse, dead. All set, Commander, Julie's voice rang out, the tremble in her words still very present and alive with adrenaline. Nelson It's so weird reading my own last name. Nelson practically snatched the headset from the lady, flipping through every possible radio, satellite, and tower signals in rapid-fire succession. This is Commander Nelson Boyer of the S.E. Saren. Do you copy? Over. This is Commander Nelson Boyer of the S.E. Saren. Does anyone copy? Over. Do you copy? Over. Oh man, that would be right after the Navy left orbit too, which they might hear. I mean, if they're still in the system, but maybe they're like not wanting to respond to anyone because of what just happened. Hee all Yowie is doomed changed my mind. You have to restart the blanket? No. CJ lore. Gun. Ooh. flintlock-wielding wanderer. With a brush of a hand, the blueprints were unrolled once again, speckles of sand tumbling from the movement to crunch beneath the paper and very slowly drain through a small hole in the table. Croy had run this by those assisting him with this build countless times. It wasn't that they didn't understand or that they weren't listening. Not at all. They were all amazing help. It was for his own assurance, to know what exactly each person or each team is doing and where they'll be, what tasks might need more equipment, what team might need more of a hand to reduce risk of injury. And by the end of it, when everyone is sent to their designated areas to work to help build this home, the ghost remained, leaning over the blueprint with a small hunch to his back, his attention locked downwards. It takes him a long moment in the silence of the tent before his grip eased from the edges of the table, to pull away from the plans and step out. He never thought that he'd find himself settled on a Savannah's beach. It was very warm for the majority of each day, heat rising in invisible ripples in the air from the sand-covered ground. That's why there were so many tents about, so people could work without getting scorched, or have a moment of coolness on a break. The ghost had made sure a steady stream of cold, clean water was being delivered often as well. The last thing anyone needed was a heat stroke. He took a breath and settled at his station work, taking out his hammer from the void of his chest and got to work, reshaping and securing stone, chiseling designs into smooth, tough blocks. It blurred together as he moved into a rhythm, using his tar to reach up higher than his arms could. The flower design was something Kron had suggested, a symbol that connected many in their family together, from the general love of gardens to just a favorite flower. As complicated as the build was, it was coming along smoothly. Kron even suggested that maybe new arrivals could see it from space, or maybe even Freya, so she'd know Solace was okay. Oh. It was a nice thought, despite the doubtfulness. Croy didn't have the heart to dampen Kron's hopes. The ghost found himself turning his head towards the sky for a brief moment, watching the clouds slowly travel by the sun and the faint outline of the new moon. It had been so long since Croy had seen a moon. If they weren't drawn and written in scriptures and stories everywhere, he was sure he would have forgotten what a moon looked like. A chunk of wet sand went right through him and broke apart on the stone in front of him, bringing him back to earth. His head whipped around in confusion until another ball landed just shy of where his feet would have been, leading him to find the culprit. Kron, who upon being caught had begun to find the ground very interesting. They held a bucket of wet sand behind their back, clearly not hiding it well. "Oh, you cheeky little..." Croy laughed lightly before moving closer to Kron, earning a giggle from his son. Kron swiftly ran back, digging their free hand into the bucket and balling up another lump to throw. And just as they did, their dad dodged it and lunged forward, scooping them up under their armpits. He wrapped one arm around Kron's waist to hold them up, while the other one tickled their ribs relentlessly, sending the creature into a fit of loud giggles. They kicked and squirmed, and just as they managed to get free to try and make a run for it, Croy caught them again, pulling them right back. "Not a chance, you little messer." With that tease, Croy blew a loud raspberry near Kron's ear, making them burst out into an even bigger laughing fit. They hit their father's arms and pushed against him, which only earned more tickles, both of them slowly becoming out of breath from laughter and playing. "Now, I thought you were asleep." Bang! A bullet flew right through Croy's torso, kicking up sand as it dove into the ground. Croy's head snapped to where the bullet came from. His ears perked up sharply to get to attention. But once he caught sight of the gun, another bullet was fired right through his head. He shivered sharply at the feeling, but quickly regained his bearings, moving to get Kron to safety. He couldn't risk them getting shot, not after everything they had just been through merely over a week ago. That's why his stomach dropped when he felt them get yanked away from him, the end of a flintlock shoved right into his face. He looked past the gun as the figure holding it, taking in the helmet and colorful rubbery suit. Wasn't this person at the memorial? Yet another bullet fired right through his face, Kron flinching violently out of instinct at the sudden noise behind the figure's oddly protective stance. The sight of them covering their ears made the ghost's jaw clench. I don't remember how to say this. You explained it before. I don't remember. I'm scared. Why are y'all freaking out? Frank. Ayad, right. It means like dad, right? Or no. Yeah. Croy pushed forward with a shove, wedging himself in front of Kron with his arms stretched out to the sides, his usually haunched form straightening up and lengthening. He paced himself. He tried to focus, but this person could already see him, right? Enough! What are you doing? Your gun is not working. Step back! His voice raised slightly as the figure stepped closer, nudging Kron out from behind him as he backed up while keeping himself between the two, stopping the stranger from grabbing his child again. Kron complied, giving the ghost a moment of relief. He couldn't risk another bullet going through him and landing into Kron. He wouldn't let that happen. Stop shooting! Get away! The Kron's bow creaked as they aimed it at the stranger with a fresh arrow, having moved to Croy's left while still being just slightly behind. The action appeared to make the stranger pause, their gun moving towards Kron, then back to Croy. A small stammer, muffled most likely due to their helmet, came out of them before they began yelling. Neither Kron or Croy knew what they were saying until a clearer, much more monotone voice spoke up. Stop! Why would I stop? There's a monster right there. Are you crazy? Crazy? Kron scoffed, their shoulders bunching up as they watched his gun switch its aim between them and their dad. They kept their aim firm, their grip on their bow tightening until their knuckles became a lighter color. You're the one shooting my dad with no reason at our home. Fuck off! The stranger's aim lingered on Kron for a moment longer as they yelled at them, their fingers still tight on the trigger, continuing to tighten the longer they argued with Kron. A bow and arrow was no match against a gun. The person wasn't paying attention to their grip. Croy lunged forward, his hands lashing onto the stranger's arm and shoving downwards just as a shot fired, leaving a tiny, perfect yet smoking hole in the sand. The stranger struggled, trying to get their arm free, but Croy kept his grip firm, not enough to hurt, but enough to keep the gun down, to keep it from firing carelessly. Kron, step back. I do not want you getting hurt. I have this, Croy called, making sure his child heard him over the muffled protests and monotone repeats of the stranger currently trying to pry themselves free, drawing Croy to the unusual formation of their arm and hand. It was barely in the shape of a limb at all, shifting, colorful shapes building it up. The moment was quickly interrupted as the figure gave a particularly sharp jerk of their arm, forcing Croy into a small stumble forwards, the ghost's ears pinned back with a grunt, his grip readjusting. This was getting ridiculous now. Were they simply just not listening to him? He tried again to focus. He just felt as if he latched onto something when the stranger yelled once more, once again trying to yank their arm free. Croy shoved them back, his fingers digging into the thick material of the colorful suit. Would you give it over? Hey. The stranger fired another aimless shot. It went right through Croy's thigh. The noise caught Croy off guard this time. Stop it! A sharp, static-filled screech followed the ghost's sudden yell. However, the noise hadn't sounded like it came from Croy's own voice. It sounded like it came from the stranger. Or maybe it was their helmet? Croy faltered for a second, his frustration simmering down as he took in the sudden silence. The colorful figure had fallen still, no longer fighting, no longer cursing out like a sailor in their two different voices. The ghost gave them a quick glance over before slowly letting go and stepping back, slowly picking up the whispers of the people behind them. The whole faction was watching. Croy had to hold himself back from burying his face into his hands, but he caught sight of Kron also watching him expectantly, waiting for instruction. Croy's shoulders slumped, before he took a quick breath. Everything is all right. Croy's voice carried out in a small echo as he allowed himself to be viewed and heard by the members of his faction, his hands raised in a placating gesture as he stepped forward. It is just a misunderstanding. You have my word. Kron watched their father approach the audience, hearing them asking questions that he did his best to answer. But the sound of metal clicking drew their attention back to the attacker, watching them place bronze capsules into the empty slots before pushing the section in and reloading another. One of the capsules fell into the sand, earning a muffled word followed by a loud shit from the monotone voice. They smacked the side of their helmet as a substitute for cursing again. You fine? Kron asked, their bow still loaded, but the aim was directed to the side. Their head tilted just slightly, though it was clear they were still on edge. Their eyes darted from the gun to the pitch-black visor of the helmet simultaneously, just about making out their own reflection. The stranger paused before closing the section of their gun sharply, their shoulders squaring. They aimed the gun in Kron's general direction, but their aim wasn't as steady as before. No, I'm not fine. What was that? And why the hell were you calling that thing your dad? Kron's shoulders slumped, groaning quietly behind their mask. So much for attempting to be nice. Quiet down, you oversized lollipop. You've enough attention as it is. The insult was met with the stranger's head jerking back, seeming to be caught off guard. But before they could retort, Kron continued, their words coming out like a scold, sharply gesturing to the flintlock aimed at them still. My dad looks scary, I get it. Like a lot of people on Solace. Doesn't mean you wave that around. They took a breath, thinking for a second on how to explain. Not that this person even deserved it. But they knew that their dad would end up doing it, or in this case, trying, and most likely failing. My dad, he's Ghost. We were playing a game, messing with each other. He wasn't hurting me. A what? Kron's explanation was so simple, yet the stranger didn't give any signs of realization in the slightest. The creatures stammered, their hands gesturing out in front of themselves, their frustration and confusion evident. But they caught sight of a familiar hand resting itself on their shoulder before they could try to figure out how to explain further. Croix soon coming into view beside them. He must have overheard. He rubbed his thumb over the fabric of Kron's coat before turning his attention once more to the person in front of them, who had now re-aimed their gun in his direction. A dead person. Me. The screech-like noise came again after Croix spoke, confirming its origin being within the colorful figure's helmet. There must be some electronic mechanisms in it that Croix had connected to, rather than what usually happened whenever he wanted to be sensed. The gun was soon lowered, albeit slowly, now held at the stranger's side. Not exactly relaxed, but not ready to shoot immediately either. It was process. Process? Progress? Croix rolled his shoulders back with a long exhale, which helped Kron relax a little in the same way. You accidentally sprayed your toothbrush with perfume? How do you accidentally do that? How do you even do that? Yeah, that's my question about the toothbrush. How do you even do that? The monotone voice of the stranger came again, his empty hand gesturing in Croix's general direction with a sharp movement, as if it was the most bewildering thing, which to the stranger really seemed to be. This was a first for Croix, surprisingly enough. Maybe he just didn't speak enough to people, but the ones he had met were surprisingly calm with it, at least from what he could tell. It was not on purpose. I was sick, I died, but my soul stayed, making me a ghost. Another silence. It didn't seem like what Croix said was entirely picked up. The ghost thought for a moment, glancing over to his child, who was looking down at their feet. The arrow previously loaded into their bow returned to their quiver, the bow in question being inspected by their fingers. With a few minutes of quiet murmurs between the two, earning a few confused noises from the colorful stranger as their head flicked back and forth between them, Kron spoke up. I explain more inside. Croix's having trouble talking through helmet to you. We can go somewhere private. With a brief moment of hesitation, Kron stuck out their hand, their arm pencil straight. My name is Kron. What is yours? The stranger merely stared, but accepted the stiff handshake with an awkwardness of their own. I'm Maunder. Ooh. That's interesting. What an interesting character introduction. We had some, like, journals, but this is, like, first interaction with another character. Very interesting. You didn't check the way it was facing? So, were you just, like, spraying... I'm wondering how you were you just spraying perfume this way? Oh, I see. You were trying to spray it this way or something. It sprayed that way instead onto your toothbrush, which was over there. That makes sense. I'm so sorry for you. What kind of perfume? Like, what's the scent? Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's a minty perfume. You got orange all over your shirt? Oh no. Flour? Okay. Not the worst. Not the best. At least it's not like... I don't know. I don't know what a bad perfume scent to go on a toothbrush would be. Probably all of them. Alright. Obsivi lore. Midnight. Obsivi leaned against the railing of her cabin's porch, staring at the township below. It was quiet, the nighttime breeze rustling the greenery. The midnight moon hung in the sky, illuminating the solitary home atop the mountain's peak. A humble building, made of little more than lumber and stone, lonely on its perch, stood far from the lives of others. Though on this night it would be a little less lonely. Heavy footsteps fell in the darkness, and from the forest a lumbering presence came into view, a towering shape with tusks like daggers and antlers that seemed to grasp the sky. Isn't it one antler? Now, well, okay, maybe they grew it back. I don't know. Has Comet grown their antler back? They began their slow amble forward, each step parting the grass beneath their feet. Sandalwood? That would be the worst, I think. You're right. Sandalwood toothpaste mixture. You're late this time, Obsivi said, looking up at the figure now shadowing over her. Comet. Sorry, something came up. Comet looked down, apologizing. Well, that doesn't matter now. Come, sit. Obsivi gestured to a set of chairs, one larger than the other, with a table between them. A set of cups, along with a plate of pastries, rested on top. Comet strode to the larger of the two chairs and sank into the seat, sighing on the way down. Aw, Miss Obsivi had a chair made specifically for Comet. Partial antler counts? Alright, that's fair. You really should consider moving somewhere closer. Walking here takes forever. So you keep saying, Obsivi replied, pouring tea into the two cups and pushing one towards Comet. I know. You want to stay up here brooding your life away, but can't you at least do it somewhere that doesn't give me sores for 3 days? Comet asked, taking a sip from the cup handed to them and reaching for one of the pastries. You know why I'm up here. Yeah, I know, Comet teased as they picked up a pastry from the tray. But beyond your need to... God, these are really good. I gotta take some of these back. Beyond your need to be emo up here, how have you been holding up? Obsivi rolled her eyes before staring down at the deep crimson of the tea in her hands. Same as usual, I suppose. Well, your usuals is normally pretty concerning, Comet noted. You're thinking of her again, aren't you? Comet felt Obsivi's hands gripping harder on her cup, ripples forming on the surface. I figured. I won't stop looking for her. I know, and you'll find her again. I know you will. Obsivi's grip loosened, emotions slowly dying down. She continued to stare down into the tea, the drink reflecting her face on its surface. Well, how have you been? Obsivi asked, raising her head back up. Given how tired you seem, I imagine things haven't been going how you were hoping. Obsivi looked into Comet's eyes before steadfast, now tinted with exhaustion. Was it that obvious? Comet leaned back in their chair. Well, between the attacks by Echo, Marcelo's funeral, and Bob, Comet's voice began to tremble before taking a breath and composing himself. It's been a lot. Obsivi nodded, looking out into the night sky. The two sat in silence for a while, the occasional breeze rushing through the mountainside. Obsivi had never been good at comforting people. The best she could ever offer others was an ear to listen and a shoulder to cry on. However, sometimes just that was enough. Thanks for the tea, Comet said, stretching as they stood from their seat. I should get back before I also get a missing poster. Here. Comet paused as Obsivi handed them a small box. It was warm. Is this... You said you wanted to take some back. I made extra. Thanks, Comet smiled as they took the box, a pleasant smell wafting from inside. Before they began their descent trip back down to back to town, they paused. You know, you really should consider coming down for a change. Staying up here alone can't be good for you. I'll consider it, Obsivi called back as Comet descended the mountain, out of sight. Obsivi stood at the steps of her cabin, looking down at the undrunken tea now cold in her hands, the familiar taste of ash filling her mouth as she took a sip. The empty cabin now silent behind her once again. I'll consider it. Oh, I think... Oh, no, wait, this just has an incredibly... Okay. Lore with Freya! From Lucky. Sharing. As the crisp evening sun let its rays dance along the sky of solace, Lucky found herself walking herself through the woods to a small opening between the trees. After everything that happened, she was glad to find some peace to quiet her mind and pick flowers, as she used to with old friends. Her friends. She had lost many friends lately, but so had most around here. Magos and Oliver were the closest, basically family. Every morning she walked for hours calling out in search of them. The only thing that stopped her from walking longer were the headaches from the tech Magos had lodged in her brain. Sorry. Magos is like family to me. He also lodged tech in my brain, and it's giving me a headache. That was another issue. A set of lies had formed as she told Light they were only from being out in the heat or working too hard. The constant fear of Light finding out ate at her relentlessly. She had dug herself quite the hole and was pushing hard to keep it hidden. Though all of that could wait as the goat made it to her peaceful clearing to relax, she noticed a familiar face. Well, I didn't expect you to be back any time soon. The satyr leaned on a nearby tree, watching. Startled, the Lemurian looked behind herself at Lucky. Oh, Lucky! I thought I'd be alone here. Yes, so did I. Lucky spoke softly as she approached and kneeled next to Freya. I come here to relax. It's a good spot when things are on the mind. Freya nodded in agreement, twisting the flowers in her hand slowly. I agree. The flowers are nice and it definitely helps. A few moments of silence ensued as the two gathered flowers and Lucky watched Freya twist a few into a crown. Hey, I never hated you for everything that happened, just so you know, Lucky quietly said. I guess I didn't say that very quietly, sorry. She grabbed a few flowers and followed what Freya was doing. Really? The Lemurian kept her head lowered and chuckled slightly. You don't have to lie. Lucky huffed back at the defiance. True, I didn't agree with many of your choices, and leaving after all that happened may not have been the best choice, she sighed, reaching out to put a hand on Freya's shoulder. But, as they say, people make mistakes, and we should have understood that you were doing your best, managing all of our different opinions. We put a lot of pressure on you, and many can just be mad from you leaving, but a lot happened to you, and honestly, I think you deserve to have the time to heal on your own, but many are also here for you on Solace. She watched Freya with a comforting smile before being pulled into a tight hug. Thank you. I didn't say that right. Thank you, Freya mumbled. Thank you, Freya mumbled into the satyr's shoulder. Lucky Sleepy wrapped her own arms around her. I just want you to know that people are here for you, mistakes and all. As they parted, the air felt less thick and more peaceful. This was now a place not shared by one but two. Two people who understood each other and enjoyed each other's presence within the flowers. They found themselves conversing till sunset, sharing the many thoughts that ravaged their brains from others as flower crowns slowly stacked around them. I imagine, there's probably 100 flower crowns. Most of them made by Freya, because she just, Lucky probably made, 10 of them, though. Well, apologies, but I do have someone to return to. She'll worry if I'm not home soon. Lucky stood picking up a crown to take with her. Freya nodded in understanding as she stood up beside her. Freya doesn't have anyone to go home to. Sorry. Thank you again for listening and sharing your space. Of course. As my friend, you're welcome anytime. The satyr began walking down her path as she called behind her. I'll see you next time, Freya. The Lemurian stood there watching the silhouette fade from view, the moon rising behind her. See ya. You're messed up for this line, by the way. Why does everyone keep mentioning the moon? Why? Freya's gonna make the moon disappear. She's gonna eat the moon. So no one can put it in their sad lore. Checkup from the Jangler. That's rough, buddy. The humming of the light illuminating the room is the only sound I can hear. I look down at my desk again, the report sent out from a Kindlegram about the crash laying there. Looking over it again, the cause for the Cabos crash was an attack from another ship that entered the planet's orbit. Was the attack by Echo? Did they find out about what happened to Eclipse? Has the wheel of revenge begun to turn once more? The humming has begun to annoy me now, and I'm in need of fresh air. I walk over and open the door of my cabin and am met with the dampness of the swamp. I had chosen to relocate here for the home field advantage it offered me, saving myself the hassle of using magic to bring water to me. I step into my boat and row down to where the new community center was built. Once I docked, I began to look for Mira. I'm worried about her. I'm worried that in her grief of her father, Marcello... Oh, I thought this was a link. She will be reckless in her pursuit for revenge. I do not wish to see her be harmed. I passed by the many people that had gathered, people who were scared, people who were hurt, and the new faces that arrived on Solace. I found my way to the Soul Pact Union's tents and found her. She was talking to someone. I waited for their conversation to conclude before approaching her. When she noticed me walking towards her, I flashed a smile. She looks exhausted, no doubt from all the hard work I've heard she's been doing. Hello, Miss Archer. Mrs. Archer! Now, yeah! Hello, Mrs. Archer. Wait, what's Dante's last name? Is it Archer? Because I thought Mira's last name was Archer. Moran? Ah. But maybe she kept her own last name. Bye, Frog! See you later. I'll see if I can wait for you to come back. We'll see. I felt the need to ask a somewhat regular question despite the situation we're in. I could see a forced smile from Mira. I'm fine. Her words felt forced, contradictory to what her eyes spoke. Are you all right? You look stressed. I'm fine. She was now looking at me more sternly, her lip now quivering and hand clenching with a slight shake to it. If something is bothering you, you can... I said, I'm fine. She looked away, her focus returning to a clipboard. I pushed too much. I tilted my head down in shame. Forgive me, Mrs. Archer. I keep forgetting to say Mrs. In their culture, they don't take each other's last names when married. Oh, okay, that makes sense. She sighed and closed her eyes. If there was a time to change the subject, now would be it. How have the relief efforts been? Are there still people who we have unaccounted for? Mira began to tell me all the efforts she and the Soul Pact Union have made so far. That seems to have calmed her down. She mentioned there was someone named Waters that was still missing. How has he not has not heard of Waters? I'm trying to think. I feel like they've probably interacted at some point. Maybe not. Is it Morin? I always thought it'd be Moron. Moron. I've only met this person on 2 occasions, the cornfield maze and the ball, but by the look Mira had, this was someone close to her. Someone at the community center called for Mira to talk to them. I need to go. It was nice talking to Mr. Angler. I wished our conversation was longer. I hadn't had someone to talk to in a friendly matter other than Muncha in a long time. There was something lingering in the back of my mind, as if something about her was familiar. Perhaps. Mrs. Archer, I enjoyed our brief talk today. Do you think it may be possible for me to visit and chat with you every once in a while? She smiled. Of course. She waved to me and walked away to the community center. Speaking of community center, I need to actually build the community center. Virgil started building it, but I need to finish it. The blanket update, found my issue, I'm back on track, but probably need to eat something. Good idea. It's Morin? My gosh. Huh. Been saying it wrong this whole time. Mentions of blood, death, lesbianism, and all things around that. I don't know why the title didn't change. I swear it doesn't say lesbianism. Okay. Origin. The day the tides shifted. The Palace of Moshni had once been built as a shrine. Even after centuries of conquest among the stars, its oldest halls remained untouched beneath layers of steel and obsidian alloy. Ancient black pillars carved with symbols disappeared into darkness overhead, while holographic war maps drifted between ritual fire pits burning cedar and bone ash. Smoke drifted through the chamber. The dead were still burning outside. Thousands of pyres lit the capital below at the palace terraces, their orange glow flickering against the night like a second city made entirely of fire. No one spoke. At the center of the war room, a hologram of the festival district rotated slowly above the table, or what remained of it. Entire streets had vanished into blackened craters. Emergency lights blinked weakly beneath collapsed buildings. The projection is occasionally distorted where the explosion had overwhelmed the city systems. Anya Chernova stood motionless beside the table. Black and blue military uniform, silver medals, gold embroidery stitched into the sleeves in the old sacred patterns of her bloodline. Ash stained one shoulder. There was dried blood beneath one of her gloves. She had not changed since the bombing. Across from her sat generals, ministers, admirals, priestesses, and gods. At the head of the chamber stood Eurillo, god of sunlight, god of spring, commander of the Moshnian military. His face was carved from stone. Final count, he said. An official swallowed hard. Confirmed dead currently stands at 13,642. Recovery teams continue identification efforts. Identification. No one used the word rescue anymore. The official lowered his gaze. 312 children. The chamber darkened further as someone dimmed the projections. A priestess quietly whispered a prayer for the dead. Anya said nothing. She could still hear the explosion, still hear people screaming beneath the music, still smell the burning beneath incense and flowers. Show the footage, Eurillo ordered. The hologram shifted. Security drone recordings filled the chamber. People lay scattered across the festival square beneath shattered lanterns and burning banners. Some still moved weakly among the dead. Then the aliens entered the frame. Tall, pale, wrapped in smooth surgical armor. Mechanical instruments unfolded from their wrists with insect-like precision. One knelt beside a still form on the ground, taking its blood like some kind of blood drive. Another dragged away bodies like discarded animals. A low sound escaped someone in the chamber. Not anger. Horror. One of the corpses rolled towards the camera. Flower crowns still rested in the woman's hair. Anya stopped breathing. Misha had made flower crowns that morning. Her fingers had smelled like crushed petals while she laughed at Anya for arriving at the festival still wearing pieces of her military uniform. You promised one day without war, Misha had said, smiling. One evening, Anya corrected. Misha kissed her cheek anyway. The footage ended abruptly in static. Silence crushed the room. Then the alien transmission appeared above the table. The creature's face looked unfinished, eyeless, bone-white. Its translated voice remained perfectly calm. The biological material gathered from Moshni demonstrates elevated adaptive potential. Further harvesting operations are recommended. The chamber erupted instantly. They butchered civilians. They violated the sacred dead. Animals. No, Anya said suddenly. The room fell silent. Her voice was low, cold. Animals kill to survive. She stared at the empty projection where the alien face had vanished. These things harvested children while music still played in the streets. Something in the room shifted. The grief was becoming rage. An intelligence officer cleared his throat shakily. They believed the genetic marker existed in all Moshnians. They did not realize only specific bloodlines possessed the abilities. One of the elder priestesses looked physically ill. They carved apart the dead, searching for divinity, she whispered. Anya's jaw tightened. The memory hit her again. Misha pulling her through the crowd by the land. Lantern light against dark hair, bonfires roaring while old songs echoed through the city. Then white light, heat, blood splattering across stone. The sound her body made when the blast threw her backward. Anya blinked, back in the war room, back among the living, unfortunately. A general slammed his fist against the table. We should erase their species before dawn. Yes, destroy every colony, glass their worlds. Another council member rose furiously. And slaughter civilians in return? Children? Families? They slaughtered ours. And if we become them? Anya laughed softly. The sound disturbed everyone in the room, because there was nothing human in it. Slowly, she turned towards the council member. Her eyes burned gold in the dim firelight, divine blood reacting to emotion. Become them? She repeated quietly. The room went still. This music is not really fitting for this. Hold on. Yeah, this is better. You think we could ever become them? She stepped towards the center of the chamber. Their people walked through burning streets, cutting open corpses while our dead were still warm. Another step. They turned our festival into a slaughterhouse because they wanted our blood. Another. They touched sacred bodies with harvesting knives. Her voice began to rise, not uncontrolled, controlled too well. Like something volcanic forced into human shape. And you stand here, asking me about restraint. Nobody answered. Even Yurillo watched silently now. Anya's breathing shook once, only once. Then the grief cracked open completely. You did not see what was left of them, she said. The words became sharper now, rawer. I did. Her composure finally splintered. I saw mothers yelling for their children through the smoke. The chamber remained frozen. I saw bodies stacked outside the temples because there were too many to burn. Her eyes glistened now with fury more than grief. And I saw Misha. The name nearly broke her voice. For one terrible second, she looked young, not a commander, not a daughter of gods, just someone destroyed. Then the rage swallowed everything else. When she looked up again, her face had hardened into something terrifying. I want their worlds burned, she said. Silence. I want their skies blackened. The holographic star map reflected in her eyes like fire. I want every ship they have dragged from orbit in pieces. Her voice became deadly calm again. I want them to look up and realize the gods of Moshni have come for them. No one interrupted her. No one dared. Anya stepped toward the tactical display and placed her hand against the projection. Entire alien systems illuminated red beneath her fingertips. Targets. Execution routes. Extinction. They will teach the universe what happens when our people bleed, she whispered. Then she looked directly at Yurillo, at her father, at the god of warfare himself. And for the first time in his immortal life, Eurylo saw hatred powerful enough to frighten a god. Anya's voice dropped into something almost sacred. Let me destroy them. You reap what you sow. The last world of the harvesters hung in orbit like something already dead, just waiting for the universe to agree. Moshtian fleets surrounded it in complete silence. Warships layered across the sky so densely they dimmed the stars themselves. No celebrations echoed through the command channels, no victory declarations, only waiting. As if every soldier, every god, every officer understood the same thing. The war had already ended. What remained was the aftermath choosing its final shape. Inside the shattered government hall, sunlight poured through a fractured dome, splitting into pale columns that drifted through dust like falling ash. The ruin had once been a seat of interstellar governance. Now it was only stone, silence, and consequence. At its center sat the last leader of the harvesters. It did not rise. It did not speak unless spoken to. It simply remained, worn down into something that looked less like authority and more like an ending that had learned how to breathe. Across from it stood Anya Chernova. No entourage, no council, no gods behind her now, only silence that felt heavier than command. Her uniform was stripped of ceremony. Black fabric, clean lines, no medals, no ornamentation. Only the crest of Moshni over her chest, like a mark carved into something that had already crossed past grief and into function. In her hand rested a weapon, one of theirs, recovered from the ruins of their capital, the same model that had moved through festival streets while lanterns burned overhead, taking the dead with clinical precision as music kept playing like the world hadn't noticed it was ending. She turned it once in her grip, not inspecting it, not hesitating, just holding it like something familiar. The alien spoke first, voice thin and worn, like it had been scraped down to the bone over years of silence. You kept our instrument. Anya didn't look up immediately. Yes. A pause. For memory? It asked. Her eyes lifted. No. That single word ended the conversation before it could pretend to continue. Silence pressed deeper into the hall. Then the creature shifted slightly, studying her in a way that was no longer scientific, no longer political, only cautious, like something trying to understand the shape of what it was about to die in front of. Its voice lowered. So it is true. Anya didn't move. The Navka walks among your kind. The word didn't belong in the room. It came from old Imperial intelligence fragments, half myth, half battlefield rumor, stories that spread through ruined colonies after harvest raids began, describing something that arrived only after everything else had already fallen apart. Not a soldier, not a commander. A consequence given form. Anya's expression did not change, but the air did. The alien continued, quieter now. A story they told us, it said, so we would understand what we had angered. Anya stepped forward, one step, then another. Not fast, not slow, just inevitable. You learned our stories, she said. The alien's head tilted slightly. We learned what survived them. The answer lingered longer than anything else in the room, because survival always chose what history became. Anya stopped a few feet away, close enough that the distance no longer mattered. Her grip on the weapon tightened once, barely visible but absolute in effect. The alien's voice came again, softer now. If you are what they say you are, then there is no peace after this. Anya looked down at it, at the last leader of a species that had turned sacred festivals into harvesting grounds, at the final remnant of something that had mistaken divinity for resource. Her expression stayed still, not angry now in motion, not emotional on the surface, just controlled to the point where everything else had to exist underneath it. The alien studied her carefully. What do you want from this moment? It asked. That question hung in the air longer than anything else had. Outside, entire fleets waited in orbit without signal. Worlds holding their breath. Empires paused on the edge of whatever came next. Anya raised the weapon slowly, not for effect, not for symbolism, only because the motion had already been decided somewhere far earlier than this room. She did not answer the question immediately. Instead, she spoke like she was finishing a thought that had been running for years. You murdered children in my streets, she said quietly. You called it harvesting. You turned our dead into inventory. A pause. Her eyes didn't flicker. And you still think there's something left in this conversation worth understanding? The alien's mouth opened slightly, but no words came. Anya lifted the weapon fully. Level, steady, absolute. Her voice dropped into something calm enough to be almost quiet. Pray to your God while you have the chance. The pause after it felt unreal, like the universe itself was waiting to see if anything would interrupt her. Nothing did. The alien didn't beg. It didn't move. It only closed its eyes. The shot came once, clean, final. The last leader collapsed into silence. The weapon slipped from Anya's hand and struck stone without ceremony. For a moment, there was nothing left in the hall except dust drifting through the light. Outside, across fleets and worlds, the war ended, not with celebration, but with the sudden absence of anything left to fight. No victory broadcast followed. No orders. Only systems going quiet one by one, as if the universe was finally exhaling after holding its breath for years. Anya remained standing where she was, not looking at the body, not looking at anything in particular, just there in the space where something final had finished happening. And something far beyond the hall, the universe continued on as if it had never needed her anger to survive it. Absolute cinema. That was really good. Like, this is the best thing you've ever written, Krofik. Really, really good. Why did it say lesbianism? I am sending this to Virgil, actually. Well, okay, I'll send it to Virgil later. That was fantastic. Need to drink some water now. I love the fact that lesbianism is included with violence. I love sci-fi. That was some good sci-fi. You're excited for this next one. All right. Warnings, mentions of war. Readers have been warned. This is also written like an audio recording. Captain's Log 11-2498. That's this year. Hi, Alice. Captain's Log 11-2498. Me and High Priestess Solon have left on the now destroyed homeworld of Luminous Order. The war had broken out too far, causing the destruction of Adria. I got it. Adria. Short pause in the audio until the same voice spoke up. Solon is asleep right now. I don't know where we'll be. I've heard of a planet named Solace. My orders were given to me by Head General Azula, like from Atla. Find a suitable planet for our people, spread the rule of the Luminous Empire, and take over the planet for our people. I'm having second thoughts, but my orders were clear. Another pause in the audio before talking in the background could be heard, but only one side of it. Oh, you're up. How was your sleep? I'm glad one of us actually got sleep. Why are you looking for the game you have lost? What? Interesting. Well, oh, like I lost the game? I swear to God, if it is, you just lost the game, I'm ending the stream here. Well, well, I was planning on making food later and just started our course for Solace. Why are you wearing that sweatshirt? It was the one that non-believer gave you. You know, the Empire will be upset if they see you wearing something from the other side, you know? Me? Sleep? I'll be fine how I am. A chuckle can be heard on the audio. Though you should be sleeping some more. You are the priestess. I should be taking care of, Light knows what I would do if you end up dead. End of audio log 1. Sorry, I'm butchering reading this. Captain's Log 122-2498. Oh, sorry, 1-2-2498. The Voyager is holding up quite well for a simple recon ship, though I'm having trouble with the creaking I'm hearing. Solon said she doesn't hear anything, but I do know it is there. Every time the creaking starts, I get this ripping pain from my back. Maybe I'm imagining things. No audio creaking could be heard from the rest of the audio. There it is again! I swear it feels like someone is ripping something from my back like it owes them money. He could be heard chuckling to himself. We have around 7 days before we end up in Solace. We need to get resources. Then once we have enough followers on Solace, contact the High Council for the takeover. Council? Council? Then we need to deal with the Solpac Navy. Really? Well, oh, I guess if you could... Can you detect them at Solace? Or maybe they already knew. I don't know. I have an idea, but it's just a spy on the inside, which will be difficult. The rest of the audio is corrupted. Woo You know, you should put someone trying to be undercover in the Navy. That would be perfect. It's a good idea. Trust me. Also, to add that a mini lore comic. Oh, let's go. Wow. Adria 5 years before and Adria now. Oh, it's like Maleron. Here's the ship with the Luminous Order symbol on it. Ooh, is this what happened? Ooh, it's about like the back pain. This is what back pain feels like, by the way. Fire. Good job. A good father. Oh. Was this on Father's Day? Myth, you're terrible. To remember Flash 1, 19 years ago. Timeline guide. A year has passed in canon since the last flashbacks. 19 years ago now is the same year that Team Solstice disbanded in Memories and Mistakes Flash 3. This takes place much later in that year. I can't believe I have to hear this right now. Arella turns away from Alderic as she speaks, her hands raised to either side of her head. The blue metal gauntlets on her hands clink with the small motions of her fingers. Then snap.
I'm Ball Cutter 29.
Thank you. That scared the shit out of me. But thank you for following. Then snap louder when her fingers drop into fists. The motion is...
I'm Ball Cutter 29.
Thank you for following, Thorn. That also scared me.
I'm Ball Cutter 29.
I need to change my... by the way, for anyone who, likes... Oh, what are the different things that, Gianni Matrigrano, whatever, voices. Hold on. I need to make sure these messages aren't from Virgil. Maybe they are. Anyway, who likes, see, Gabriel from Ultra Kill, that guy from that Roblox game that people liked, some other things. He's the one who voiced my sound, my follow sound. The whole Ball Cutter 29 manifesto. For free! He read all 600 words for free. Amazing guy. I love talking about it every time. It was so fun. Okay. The motion is heard, but goes unseen through the dense curls of her hair as the man watches her walk away. I couldn't believe it when I heard it either, he speaks, running a hand down his face. He's sitting on the couch in their sleeper pod, the weight of the world practically bearing down on his shoulders. It's an anxious gesture, a dangerous one, but he scratches the ring of water that sits innocuously on his wrist. It's the one thing keeping him from feeling the pain his service gave him, the pain of being their guinea pig. No, Virgil can't find banana bread! Arella turns back towards him quickly, a sharp metal finger pointed in his direction, her deep blue eyes welling with tears that her own service keeps from falling. She's still in the armor of her squad. She just got back from the field. It would be the wrong time to show weakness. They unrightfully discharged you from service, and now they want to take you to court for your decisions on all prior missions. Oh. Well, okay, that wasn't very low or quiet, but she utters out in a low, quiet tone to restrain herself. The emotion is strong. He knows it. He can feel it practically radiating off of her so brightly that it hurts to look towards her, so he just keeps his eyes on his hands. It's a little more complicated than that. Bullshit. Black eyes rise to look into the deep before them. Why can't he feel as outraged as her about this? Her feelings are justified, strong and righteous. Hold on, sorry. Virgil is asking me a bunch of questions. He's at the store right now. strong and righteous, but he doesn't feel anything. Maybe it just hasn't hit him yet. It was that Elia that delivered the summons, wasn't it? The question isn't an accusation. It feels like it should be. Enough that Alderic drops his head and runs his hands into his hair. Of course she did. Orella starts, her heavy boots stomping against the floor as she moves. Because that woman is a narcissist who can't accept that you actually got away from her. Let me guess, she tried to tell you that she'd have her big important daddy drop the charges if you got back together with her. The silence that follows is telling. He knows that it is. There's nothing he can think of to say, and no more excuses he can make for Elia. A habit he learned to break not long after he first met Orella at that mandated "you saw something really bad in the field" group therapy, when he still commanded Team Solstice. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm sending my lawyer a wave. The light that flicks up with the summoning of those communication screens takes his eyes away from the ocean outside their windows. Orella's lips continue to move. She continues to speak, but his mind somehow manages to look past that. He only watches as her hands dutifully type out messages to contacts, the way she prepares a defense for him without knowing how heavy the cards are stacked against him. No. No, she knows. She knows who is involved. She doesn't know the context of what he's done on his jobs, but she knows Elia was a part of it. She knows it may be the government itself against him. It could be her career on the line as well, but she's treating it like a battle that can be won. Like there's hope. Alderic leans back against the couch. He watches the screens blink away one by one. He watches her frustrated expression release into a sigh. Then he watches a clawed gauntlet wrap around the rod of her plasma glaive, laying in dormant mode against the glass wall next to her. When the light of it takes the space where the screens left, he's getting up. Ella, hold on. What? She's a noble's daughter. She'll heal. Alderic's hand finds her arm. The metal of his ring clinks against the armor, causing a casing in a dull snap. He holds back the wince at the sound and prevents himself from checking on it. It's just the engagement ring. The wedding bands can be treated with more care. Please don't make your lawyer work double time. She looks at him in a sideways glance. The scar on her cheek and the tattoos running up her neck give her that extra intensity that has him mentally brace himself. Then her painted lips part in a fanged smirk like she's already completely thought this through in just the time he'd been out of it. Oh, I won't make him work for me. I'll turn myself in, represent myself. What are they going to do? Put a pregnant woman in jail for non-fatally stabbing a noble? Alderic moves to put his body between her and the exit, not letting go of her arm. His eyes shoot down when she mentions pregnant. It's still fresh news, only a month in now. He wouldn't lie and say that he's not worried about a lot of things. Darling, not to argue with you, but yes, they absolutely will, and I don't think both parents either behind bars or dead is a great way to start out that life. She lowers the glaive and shuts her eyes with a heavy exhale. He keeps one hand on her arm and the other raised in a placating gesture. Watching her, waiting, when nothing further happens, then he lowers that hand too. After a silent moment, Orella opens her eyes back up and looks at him. Her grip of the glaive loosens, then her eyes turn towards the glass out to sea. I'm not a stay-at-home mom, she says suddenly. I don't expect that of you, he replies instantly. She taps her heavy boot against the stone floor. I don't like her being out there when... I know. Orella takes in a breath and shakes her head before finally triggering the button to retract the plasma from the blade. Then she lets go of it, letting it drop and clatter to the floor. It splashes. Alderic looks at it on the floor, nods once, and then takes her now freed hand. It's going to be okay. I love you. Then a silent pause as he looks somewhere behind her shoulder. Can we move into another room now? The water pours through the slice in the glass, the one that formed when she initially triggered the blade. The room has been slowly filling with water since. She only seems to notice it now that his eyes gesture to it. Oh, yeah, let's... Excessive water detected! Oxygen depleting to unsafe levels, alerting local agencies. Please move to another room for pod containment sealing. The automated voice blares out into the space loud enough that Alderic drops his head before searching for the source. Orella groans loudly in annoyance. Wow, thank you so much, Ceros. I'm sure you absolutely couldn't have mentioned that earlier, she speaks loudly. Alderic looks at her, looks to the camera in the ceiling that she shouted at. It's her home initially. He moved in, so he's been adjusting. Her Ceros unit has never spoken in his presence before. He looks, then drops his head to her armor-clad shoulder as he laughs into it. She looks down at him. She sighs affectionately, the anger dissipating from her form as she listens to him, a smile to her lips. The flooding no longer important. An arm loops around him, and with a possibly evil thought, she lifts him up in that hold. Seize! All right, come on, you idiot. It's a bit of a waddle walk, where Alderic reluctantly holds as still as possible while she maneuvers them around the furniture and the rising puddles of water toward the airlock doors. He doesn't say anything further. He basically just lets it happen. You're going to be an amazing father, she says quietly, genuinely. Tell me again when you're not dangling me like a prized stuffed animal. Oh, I accidentally made that tiny. Prized stuffed animal waters. From Light. Headaches. Rain pounded against the cottage's window, making it rattle in its frame. Who's following me to every... Some of you are following me in every one of these. I see you. Who are you? This is tragic. I was going to mention the following. It's Angel. It's Ball Cutter 29. Freya hates us? It's Mika too? I don't hate you. I'm just wondering who Anonymous Mink is. Oh. One of you is here. Rain pounded against the cottage's window, making it rattle in its frame. The living room was alight in warm tones from a fireplace. Here's what I have to say to you, Frog. Hee hee! That was a terrible hee hee. Hee hee! Hee hee! I can't do it. My voice is already shot from today. Hee hee! Hee hee! There you go. That was a better hee hee. Rain pounded against the cottage's window, making it rattle in its frame. The living room was alight in warm tones from the fireplace. The couch was wide and covered in soft blankets. Bookshelves lined one wall and plants took up space in the other. The kitchen was brighter than the living room, lit by lanterns and lightly scented candles. There, two ladies moved about. They were cooking their dinner, salmon and salad for Light, a meat and vegetable pasty for Lucky. Pasty? Pasty? Wait, how do... One of those is incorrect! It's wait, hold on. Don't look at me! Okay. I've read the traditional baked turnover. The food is pronounced pasty. Rhymes with nasty. Avoid pronouncing it pasty. Pasty. Moving on. They were speaking quietly to each other, Light gently teaching Lucky how to make the pasty. Please. Pastry. Pastry. This is too British for me. The two soon shifted the conversation to the market, the faction, anything that came to their minds. Lucky eventually leaned on the kitchen counter, watching Light cut up some fish. This is nice. I feel like we should be doing this more often. She shifted a bit, almost uncomfortable. It's calm around you. The dragon smiled at Lucky, though there was a hint of disbelief in her eyes. It was always there whenever someone told her that. She never believed it herself. Light never spoke it aloud. It was something she kept to herself. Yeah, we should, the dragon said as she shifted her gaze back to the fish she was cutting. It's calming, and we don't often have the chance to do so. Lucky nodded, agreeing once more before running a hand through her hair. We still got stuff for headaches lying around, right? Light turned to look at the satyr with worry. Yeah, I'll go get it, she said as she placed the knife down. She rushed away, heading off to get the medicine. She returned soon after, bringing the bottle. She gave it to Lucky before grabbing a cup and filled it up with water before placing it on the counter next to her girlfriend. Lucky took the medicine easily. It almost became routine how many times she'd done this by now. Thank you. You didn't have to do all that, she chuckled a bit. Always running around for me. The dragon smiled warily. She moved closer, placing a hand over Lucky's hand. I wanted to make sure that you're all right. especially with how frequent this headache of yours is, she said softly. Plus, I worry. This headache of yours is frequent, far too frequent to be normal. Has your head hurt lately? Wait, have you hurt your head lately? The satyr hesitated a moment. Of course, this was going to be asked eventually, but she didn't want to cause any more issue, especially with everything going on Solace at the moment. She reached up, letting her hand rub the back of her neck. Nah, I'm sure it's from being in the sun too long or something. I'll just have to relax more. Light watched Lucky with worry as her ears lowered slightly. She felt like the satyr was hiding something from her, something important. She took a sharp breath and nodded. Maybe, she murmured as she moved away. She washed her hands before seasoning the salmon and moving it to the heated cast iron pan to cook. Lucky let out a small sigh before walking to put the medicine up. When she returned, she leaned on the door frame in the doorway. Anything else you want me to do? Light shook her head. No, go sit down. I can handle it from here, she said as she turned to give Lucky a small smile. Well, just let me know then, okay? Lucky turned to head to the living room, glancing over one more time before retreating. The dragon hummed as her tail flicked slightly. She finished their dinner and set the table, placing plates, food, and utensils onto the dining table. Light walked into the living room and placed a hand onto Lucky's shoulder as she leaned over the back of the couch. Dinner's ready, she said softly. How are you feeling? Has the medicine kicked in yet? Lucky smiled, looking over her shoulder at Light. Yeah, a bit. I'm sure it'll be gone fully soon. She reached out, hugging Light a bit before getting up and following her to the table. Light pulled a chair out for Lucky before sitting down. The two ate in relative silence for a while, both simply enjoying the food before them. After a bit, the dragon looked up at the satyr. Her ears flicked as she debated something to herself. Then she spoke up. What's really going on with these headaches? She asked as she placed her fork down. Lucky was mid-chewing when Light spoke. She froze a moment and then swallowed before clearing her throat. Well, I'm not sure. You know, it could be anything. Once again, she reached up, rubbing the back of her neck subconsciously. Light's eyes narrowed as her tail flickered. She looked up and walked over to the satyr. She gently took hold of Lucky's hand and moved it from the back of her neck. The satyr's ears fell. Any more lies, and when the truth comes out, it could be worse than what she was about to hear. My headaches are a side effect to this. She moved her hand to her hair while moving it away to show the bit of tech placed by the cerebellum of her head. Light stared at the device. Her expression immediately became impossible to read. She took a sharp breath and released Lucky's hand. What happened to require you to have that? She asked, her voice deadly firm. Lucky fumbled with her hands a bit, trying to recall events. Well, it's a long story. She glanced at Light for just a moment. The expression given to her was enough to make her look away and continue. When I fell in that pit trap and was missing for a few days, I didn't get out by myself. Magos kind of saved me, and, well, I owed him, so we began working together. At first I thought it was just going to be a you saved me, so let me help you as well kind of deal, but then he was nice to be around and we got along. She shook her head, focusing herself back on what was important. Anyway, I was making him this elixir and it kind of went wrong. She motioned to her second pair of horns. That's where these came from. But it also kind of rattled my brain, and Magos had to use some tech to fix it because apparently without it I'm a bit feral or something. Before Light could speak, Lucky quickly spoke again. And I'm sorry for not telling you, but no one likes Magos, and I didn't want it to be an issue between us, and then became this whole lie, and it got too far, and I didn't know what to do, and I just couldn't. Light was silent for a long while. Suddenly, she reached out, cupped both of Lucky's cheeks, and gently kissed her on the forehead. I can't pronounce this. Is there a... Translations! Gods above, my love. Oh, they're so cute! The dragon murmured as she moved back slightly. You didn't have to lie to me. Yes, I am angry that you did. Yes, I do not like Magos, but I don't like Magos because he wasn't a very good boss. I'm glad that he had helped you, both with the spike pit and the elixir incident. Don't feel like you have to hide things from me just because I don't like a person. Please. Lucky nodded. It felt like a weight lifted off of her. It was nice that at least someone knew, someone she loved and trusted. Thank you. She stood up from her chair, bringing Light into a tight hug. You are quite amazing, you know that? The dragon hummed and returned the hug. I feel like I'm hearing things. I'll be right back. Okay. It's just people making weird noises upstairs. I don't know what's going on. Alright. The dragon hummed and returned the hug. So people have told me, she murmured softly. Hello, anonymous blobfish. She pulled away slightly and gave Lucky a firm look. No more hiding things like this from me. If I'm to help you with these things, when these things happen, I need to know the cause. Of course, no more hiding things, she repeated. I promise. The satyr lifted her pinky to her and smiled. Pinky promise. Light smiled and raised her pinky to hook it around Lucky's pinky. Pinky promise, she repeated. Hi, Beef. What's up? Hello. Aw, hello. Hello, baby Beef. If she sits up on the chair, I'll turn on Beef Cam for y'all. Oh, she is here. Oh my gosh. Beef. Hello. The two returned to their seats and finished eating. Afterwards, they spent some time in the living room. They read some books and spent the time in blissful silence before they retired to their room to sleep for the night. It was a nice night. Beef is stealing the show as usual. Aw, hello, baby. You gonna show the whole world your butt? Oh, you're scratching the scratching post. Let's go. You get that scratching post. Get it. Meow. Oh. The camera's falling. There we go. Kind of. What's up, Beef? What are you doing? We should make it so someone does Beef, it sends a link to the Beef fan club? That's true. I can do that. You should send a link to the Beef fan club anyway. We have a Discord server that's just for pictures of Beef. Meow. Meow. She's so silly. Really? You're gonna stick your foot on me like that? Like grab your foot, huh? Tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Tickle, tickle. She loves carpet, by the way. It's her favorite texture. Oh, there she goes. Oh, well, okay. You don't need to see that. That's just gross. Beef fan club got me through finals. Alright. My lesbians. Magos is missing. Oh no. Like killed him. Like killed him. No. Magos. Angel. A one-time thing. Mention of needles, IVs, illnesses, specifically chronic illnesses. When Angel woke up that morning, he was alive, yes, but he wasn't in his own bed. No one was beside him, and judging by the color of the bed, it was Saylin's. He had to go see Florian for a while for some tests, treatment as he called it. It's one of the only things that Angel knew in his new life. After a lot of his memories got wiped, he had to relearn a lot of things. The treatments weren't torture. Florian truly did care about Angel, and it was for his own good, for his health, since he was sick. Angel pushed himself up into a sitting position, wincing slightly at the pain in his arm from the IV that he needed. Ever since Angel got sick, he had to go see Florian every 2 or 3 weeks, just to see if he was improving. He usually wasn't. If anything, he was staying the same and occasionally getting worse. He wasn't dying, though, which was the good part. That was confirmed. He just couldn't do as much as he was able to do. I thought that was Marcello with mutton chops for a second. What? Marcello if he slayed. Whenever Angel was weak, Salen was always by his side. Like now. Angel? Salen asked, coming up beside him. Angel winced slightly at the lights. He smiled. Say, you're here. I honestly thought you'd be exploring. His voice was slightly hoarse since he had just woken up a couple minutes before. I didn't want to leave you, Salen replied, hesitating before placing his hand on Angel's shoulder. Angel smiled, leaning against Salen's touch. You don't usually act like this. You were worried, weren't you? He asked, letting himself laugh a little. No, I wasn't, just mildly concerned. That made Angel laugh harder. You were totally worried, he said, placing his hand on Salen's arm. Salen helped Angel get up, and they walked outside their little cave. The same cave from my last entry, LOL. They took a seat at a tree a few feet away from the entrance of the cave. Salen looked tired, Angel could tell. Despite being tired himself, he pulled Say against him and smiled. You've been up for a while, I can tell. You can sleep. I won't let anyone come near. It'll be fine. His tone was quiet and gentle, not energetic like he usually was, but it didn't bother either of them. Salen didn't want to, clearly. He was still worried about Angel and wanted to take care of him, but he still fell asleep, although reluctantly. The two sat there under the tree for hours, Angel sitting there occasionally admiring Salen before averting his gaze back to the sky. How did we get here? He mumbled to himself. He smiled, despite the irony of it all. I think I might love you, Say, he mumbled, quiet enough that it wouldn't wake him up. Aww. That's so cute. Aww. Virgil's home! I'm back. I'd help put away the groceries and everything. Cookies? kind of cookies? Everyone drop their favorite type of cookie right now. All right, we have flashback. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to this. The crash was one of the Navy ships that was shot down by another ship. And I recently had a conversation with Friedrich, and we think that it was Echo.
Oh.
That they're in orbit around the planet.
You're weak.
I heard a lot of things in that. I heard coward, weak. I heard the beginning part was from the faction meeting where Freya came back. And the I heard Freya yell when she killed Eclipse. Yeah, someone needs to hug comment. Don't worry, Freya's giving them a lot of hugs, I promise. I think Freya is probably going to start baking again and making things for comment every day like she did to Marcelo. Ugh. Okay, moving on. Supernova, the lady and the people. I look around and see a tall lady looking at me. She had long black hair and blue eyes, and just as I started paying attention to her, she used her hand to call me over. I looked around before following her behind a tree. "Hello there, dear," she said, which made me jump. "You look lost. Do you need help?" I look at the lady, fascinated by how she communicates by making noises. "Can you speak, darling?" I shake my head, no. "That is a pity," she sighs. "Well, my name is Marana." No! "Do you have a name?" I nod, yes. "Can you tell—" "Oh yeah, you can't speak. Great." I turn around and point to the sky where the supernova is still there. "Wait, is your name Supernova?" I nod eagerly. Marana chuckles. "Well, I guess we can talk. I've been so lonely lately, and I have had no one to talk to. Would you want to be my friend, Supernova?" I freeze. I've never had a real friend before. I've also been lonely on my star. I nod yes to Marana, and she smiles. "Amazing. You are so kind. I just knew we were going to be the best of friends." Marana wraps her arms around me and lifts me into a big hug. When she puts me down, she looks at my chest and gasps. "Oh dear, you seem to have a hole in your chest." I looked down to see the big hole in my chest. It was glowing yellow and leaking a bit of stardust now and then. "Does that not hurt?" Marana asks, concerned. I have her off, trying to show her that I am fine, but that it doesn't hurt. "You sure it doesn't hurt? I could help you try to close the wound." Before I could respond, Marana put her hand on my chest, and it started to glow an ominous blue color. But when she removed her hand, the wound was still there. "What? That should have disappeared," Marana said in a more fascinated voice than concerned. Marana stood up to her full height and dusted off her dress. "I'm going to find out why my magic didn't work. I hope to see each other real soon, friend." And just like that, Marana disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving Supernova alone. I decided to look around before I hear some noise behind a hill. I was scared, but I wanted to investigate, so I crawled just up the small hill to see what was happening. I looked down to see a group of people building a flower-shaped something. I look at everyone to see how different they all look from each other. On my star, everyone looked the same, but here everyone was uniquely different, and my eyes landed on one person. They seemed to be keeping an eye on the building. They were wearing a coat and face with one big circular-looking thingy in the middle. As I looked closer, I noticed that they were speaking to nobody? I mean, it looked like someone was on their left, but no one was. Unless air counts as people on this planet. I tried getting closer, but I ended up making too much noise. Everyone turned their head towards me. I tried lying really low, but I guess that space skin against many yellow tiny rocks doesn't really hide me the best. So I grabbed a handful of the mini rocks and tried to throw them at them. Unfortunately, the mini rocks did not get close enough to distract them, so I turned and ran full speed away. Once I got a bit far, I looked back to see if they were following me. They weren't. Heh, I must be too fast for them. I'm so tired after all that, I might take a nap here for a bit. People just turn around like, what is that? Throws rocks poorly, runs away without elaborating. Yes! Frog video! Is Frog actually here? I can wait. You should have killed her when you had the chance. Oh. About Eclipse. Ah! Ah. That was Croy and Kron, wasn't it? Kron speaking to air. You're here? Awesome. Oh, I opened the wrong thing. YouTube. Okay, wait. I think I got rid of the YouTube thing. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, we can go into the old YouTube thing. Okay, wait. Maybe if I do this? Yes. There we go. Cool. Okay, you put this here and this here. There we go. Why is my camera so huge? Hold on. Well, okay, I guess I can't really change that. Whatever. I'll do this. Let's go. Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Freya, and... Also, this is the only time I'll pause, I promise. But I really appreciate the captions this season. I know that they take extra effort, but it's very useful, and I appreciate it. I used to be in charge of everything here. I made the planet, and I've been gone for a while. I think it's about 3 months. And I heard about what happened with the ship crashing and everything, and I've seen the memorial. And I wanted to come back and apologize, first of all, and I hope to be better. I'm really sorry for being gone. I didn't know how to handle all of the criticism and the pressure, and after Marcelo died...
You have no idea what you've done. What I've done? You're more delusional than I thought.
I didn't know what to do. And so I left. And after Marcelo died...
You have no idea what you've done.
What I've done? You're more delusional than I thought.
I didn't know what to do. And so I left. And I panicked.
You're crazy for that, Frog. You're crazy for that.
Left, and I shouldn't have done that. If I had been here, I would have been able to stop what happened. I'm sorry. I'm going to work harder to make... I know I say this a lot, but this time I am going to make things right. I'm working with Admiral Friedrich and the Navy, and we're going to... I've seen they've made that resource center. I'm going to be working there, and I want to make all of your lives better, despite what happened. If anyone has any questions for me, or I just want to talk, it can be negative. I don't mind.
Rex!
Hi there. I don't think we've met before.
Hi, my name's Rex.
It's nice to meet you, Rex.
Well, I have 2 questions.
Go ahead.
One being, I'm new around here, so I might not know. I haven't asked until now. Why did the crash come down into here?
The crash was one of the Navy ships that was shot down by another ship. And I recently had a conversation with Friedrich, and we think that it was Echo. That they're in orbit around the planet, and they were the ones that shot down the ship. We don't know why, but that's what happened. It was shot down out of orbit, and it fell, and apparently the captain tried to slow it down and steer it out of the way, but it didn't do much. And if you don't know what Echo is, which if you're new you probably don't, they're a group that has sent people down here, done terrible things.
Do you receive
And their whole goal. I accidentally turned my camera off. Goal is to kill. Well, I think it's just to kill people. They were the cause of the big disappearances that happened, what we call the Great Anomaly.
Oh,
And from what we know, they're here to finish the job.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
My second question. Everyone is mentioning Marcelo.
You started convulsing. Yeah, comment steering. Comment always breaking the fourth wall.
Pretty stupid idea if you ask me. Score 2 for the people who murdered the whole universe, I guess. You
And you did too. Who is Marcelo?
Stop! Stop! You're so mean! You're so mean!
Marcelo was a great leader, part of this planet. He was the first person that I met after all of the disappearances that I mentioned. And he's the reason that this planet even exists. He was a good friend to many and a mentor, and he was killed.
I think I've told you everything you wanted to know. In fact, I've been quite cooperative.
By the last
I'm showing this to Virgil later.
member of Echo that came to this planet.
One.
Was that the wall? I'm crying. God, give me your inhaler too, Truffle. Oh my god.
Two more questions.
You can ask as many as you like.
Okay. One, what is going to be done about Echo?
We don't know.
By the way, I also got that sound in my recording and I need to find a way to like turn it off or something.
Exactly yet. In the last 2 years that they've come down to the planet, we've tried to stop them. I mean, the first time we didn't
Same.
really know who they were or what they wanted. The second time, I tried to stop Eclipse from hurting people, but I didn't do a very good job of that. With the Navy involved now, hopefully we can make more progress towards that, but from what I have learned, Echo's leader is another Lumeran like me, which could mean that currently they are not really. There's nothing I can do to stop them, but we're working on that.
Okay. And my last question. I have been leaving flowers at the memorial where the crash was or is, or I don't know. But does Marcelo have a memorial?
He did, but it was destroyed in the crash. I don't know if there's going to be another one made. That would probably be a question for Mira. That's good to hear.
Okay.
I mean, in a way, the moon for Solace I made recently as a way to remember him. So that's my memorial, but I don't know if there's an official one currently.
Oh, when an official one comes up, leave flowers.
That's very kind of you.
Thank you. That was all my questions.
I love Rex. Put the pad over Rex? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me find the other angle. Okay, hold on. I'm putting the pad over Rex. Rex. The pad is over Rex. Go crazy. I was so tempted to Photoshop Marcelo's face on the moon. This is gonna be my only time pausing for every flashback. Rex deserves all of the head pads. It's so true. Okay, you got 10 seconds left, and then I'm moving on. 5, 4. Hey! That's it! No more petting!
Petting goes to me now. Just for the bonk. Thank you for the head pats. Thank you. No! Stop! You know what? You're bonking Comet now. How does that feel? Why would you bonk Comet? That's so rude. Wow. You're bonking Rex now. He does not deserve that.
Disappearances that happen.
Alright,
Special one comes up.
No, it's bonking
That's
Freya!
very kind of you.
Thank you. That was all my questions.
Hi, Lux.
Hello. So while we are of course very thankful to Navy and their support during our recovery stage, considering at least at this time, we found out a method of offensive attacks. Are there any plans on an official evacuation in case they do come down, and we can make sure no civilians are hurt in the future?
That is a very good question. The Navy is actively moving anyone who wishes to leave Solace and relocating them to another planet. If any of you are interested in leaving, you can talk to any of the Navy personnel or me, and I can help take you to them. Solace is not, I will admit, it's not a good place to live. It's dangerous. It's got a lot of a mix of good and bad people. But those who choose to stay here we're after Echo. We're trying to figure out what it is they want and how to stop them. So if that's something that you want to be a part of, then you're welcome to stay. More than welcome. But to everyone who wants to leave, the Navy is here. They can take you up on a shuttle tomorrow if you'd like, and take you to somewhere much safer.
And if a faction is targeted,
If a faction is targeted, if you believe that Echo is targeting your faction, we can have security come to your faction to help, I'm sure. Just got back, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure that the Navy's
I'm
here to
sure,
help
but
with
I'm not sure.
anything
But
that
I'm
we need.
sure.
I'm sure we can have a
I'm sure.
full group of security personnel over there immediately. And their technology is much better than ours on Solace.
thank you.
It's good to see you, Lex. Trigal.
Rex standing a very human distance away.
I appreciate you for saying that. It means a lot. I know that not everyone has good or bad, or I know not everyone has good memories of me from, or Solace in general, but I'm glad to have at least some friends coming back. Hello again, Rex.
It's part 2.
Okay.
Hello. How can people like normal, like me, who is normal, how can normal people be helpful?
That is a great question. You can really just being helpful. Well, that doesn't really explain it, but the Resource Center always needs donations. If you see someone who needs help lifting something or moving something, you can help them. Helping people build houses, plant crops, anything like that. Really just making friends. We thrive off of community and connection here. So just being you and looking out for when
I
other
had no idea how to
people
answer
seem
this question.
to be in trouble.
Okay,
really stumped
I
me.
will do all of that in that order. Thanks.
Very good. If anyone has something else they'd like to talk about, you can also come up here. This isn't just supposed to be about me. I want other people to, talk about what they need to. So I'll sit down for a little bit. If you have anything, you can line up.
No, Atlas! Don't do that to
I'm
me.
sure some of you have seen the poster there. I just wanted to make a little announcement to everyone that Doctor of TUNC on Vades is missing. At the moment, his whereabouts are unknown. If you see him he looks like a person with a water jug on his head that or the people at the work with the peacekeepers know, so he can
I
come
know I
home.
said I wasn't going to pause again. I will be using Discord from here on out for faction meetings. If there's events where people are going to be spreading out, we can use the voice chat. But for stuff where we're all in the same spot, I think we're just going to use Discord because it's not consistent. I feel really bad. This one was like, for Light especially, and some other people, it was like just not working. Some people weren't able to join because it was still broken. We're going to use Discord.
If anyone else has something to say, otherwise, we can end things. Let me give some clarification too about specifically the resource center. Anyone who wants to help, like Rex was asking, the resource center is the best way to do it. For those who remember the recycling and,
Right,
resource center and community center that we used to have, it's kind of like all of those combined into one. If you have any tools or materials that you don't need anymore, you can donate them. We have a whole library of books. We have a free food stand for anyone who needs it. There's everything over there. And if you have any suggestions, you can make suggestions and we'll add it. From what I've seen, the Navy is here to help us. And I'm also here to help.
Welcome back,
but I think
Rex.
the Navy's going to do a better job of that.
I'm gonna kill you while you're standing.
All right. Well,
What was that?
and I'm also here to help, but I think the Navy's going to do a better job of that.
I'm gonna kill you while you're standing.
What is this? What is this? It's your tavern? What about wait?
All right. Well, meeting adjourned.
It's over.
Frog commissions, everyone. Go subscribe to Frog's YouTube channel and like the video. If you are watching this, go right now, like the video. Because we are watching it, we like it, we appreciate it. Frog puts so much effort into these videos and we want to show our appreciation. Go like the video now, leave a comment saying that you liked it, leave a comment saying you head pat Rex. Otherwise you're a fake fan. Back to having music. Hold on. Why is it broken still? What the heck? Oh! Oh, I see. I see. Okay, hold on. There we go. Finishing 10th row? Let's go. Yeah, the video, this editing was absolutely peak. Good job. Bagel. A gift from one god to another. A blade from a friend long gone. A reflection that allows one to stay a step ahead. Will it ever be used in the hands of the storyteller? Will it ever be used in the hands of the storyteller? Use it once again. D. Who's D? D's nuts? Cause it's not Gabriel. It's not Magos. It's not Hexon. Who's D? D's nuts. Anomaly report number 1. John Angler. Office of Anomaly Research. Anomaly 1 Merkweed Monster. Anomaly 1, or the apt nickname Merkweed Monster, from observation seems to be an aquatic creature residing in the orchid swamp where John Angler lives. It was first sighted by Angler whilst he was building his cabin and was first thought to be an illusion created by fireflies passing over the water. Once the Merkweed Monster was spotted a second time, Angler began to take notes. The only noted descriptions logged have been this creature's yellow eyes and algae collecting above its head acting similar to hair. Any and all attempts to approach the creature result in its presence fading into the swamp with no trace left behind, making further discoveries on how this creature functions difficult to near impossible. It is unclear if this creature is hostile. The only behavior consistent is it observes people passing through the swamp. A plausible theory to explain this behavior is that this creature exhibits curiosity. If anyone is to encounter this anomaly, please send a message to the Office of Anomaly Research's mailbox to be reviewed. Sketch. My god, I love that. Incredibly accurate sketch. From Astra. Oh, this is from after the Monder thing earlier. Voice in my speaker. My eye followed the line created by the shaky barrel of my flintlock leading to the target in the not-so-far distance. I knew the bullet wouldn't hurt it, much less kill it, but I wasn't trying to. I just needed to coax it a little, preferably before it hurt or even milled the masked individual it's so close to. The pointer finger of my jagged left hand curled around the trigger and, bang! A shot fired and, as expected, passed right through it. I rotated my flintlock cylinder and readied my next shot. Bang! The shot once again went straight through its body, kicking up the sand behind it. It definitely knows I'm here now. The next thing I needed to do was get the masked person away from it before I could hurt them. I quickly closed the distance and firmly placed my hand on the arm of the masked one, getting a real good look at them up close. I don't think I've ever seen a species like this. You continue to surprise me, Solace. I threw them behind me and shoved the barrel of my flintlock in its face and fired again. Bang! The person behind me flinched and covered their ears while yelling something I didn't recognize. As to be expected. I'd grown used to the sound of my own gun over the years, but even Graham still flinched when he heard me fire. It quickly moved between me and the masked person, growing taller as I can only assume it straightened its posture. A gargled, illegible sound came from where it was. The masked person yelled immediately after, muffled by my helmet shortly after translated through my helmet speaker. Stop shooting, get away. The masked one had a primitive bow and bow and arrow aimed at me as they spoke. I alternated aiming at it and the stranger for my own safety. Stop? Why would I stop? There's a monster there. Are you crazy? I yelled through my helmet and waited for it to translate. It wouldn't capture my emotion. My translator wasn't sophisticated enough for that, but it would convey the words. You're the one shooting my dad with no reason at our home. Fuck off, it yelled back at me. It's dad? How could it be this thing's dad? It isn't even on the same plane. It isn't even a living thing. They continued yelling at me, and I yelled back, though my tone never made it through. I kept my aim centered on the masked one now, the bow making me ever more nervous. It probably wouldn't kill me, but an arrow through the shoulder would fucking hurt. Before I even realized, it suddenly lunged at me, grabbing at my hands and trying to pry away my flintlock. I panicked and pulled the trigger, firing a shot directly into the sand below us. It continued holding my hand down somehow between our planes. It made more garbled noises as I yelled at it. Let my damn hand go, you seeker. How are you even— Let go! I struggled against it. I snapped my arm away and watched it stumble as I freed myself, if only for a moment. It grabbed the fabric of my suit once again and continued to fight me. It was like it wasn't trying to kill me. Unusual, especially knowing what these things are capable of. Would you give it up? Hey! I yelled more at it. It was acting childish and immature and stubborn at this point. Stop it! I froze. The voice had come through my helmet's speaker, but it wasn't the voice of the translator, and it carried too much emotion. It wasn't the masked individual. I would have heard them speak, even if it was muffled. I paused and stared at it, whatever it was, as I started to have my doubts. It stepped away from me and faced an apparent audience we had garnered in our scuffle, projecting more garbled gibberish. I took it as an opportunity to reload my flintlock. I was running low on bullets in the chambers. In my haste, I dropped a handful of the bullets I'd pulled out. God damn it, stupid piece of— hate this glove and stupid crystal hand. I muttered to myself in unfinished sentences as I dropped down to my knees and picked up the bullets out of the sand, smacking my helmet in frustration. Are you fine? The masked individual spoke behind me. I looked at them, bow still loaded. I got up quickly and re-aimed my weapon at them, my aim even shakier than it was when I first arrived. No, I'm not fine. What was that? And why the hell were you calling that thing your dad? I yelled at them. Quiet down, you oversized lollipop. You have enough attention as it is. I didn't know what a lollipop was, but nonetheless, I was caught even more off guard and rendered even more confused. My dad looks scary. I get it. Like a lot of people on Solace. Doesn't mean you wave that around. They took a breath, clearly thinking on what to say next. My dad, he's Ghost. We were playing a game, messing with each other. He wasn't hurting me. I had to take a moment to process what they had told me. It wasn't a seeker, but a ghost? Except I didn't know what a ghost was either. It could just as easily be their word for the same thing. A what? I asked the masked individual. It, or I guess the ghost, had now moved beside the masked individual, not covering them like before, but standing beside them. A dead person. Me. Rang through my speaker once again. Not the translator's voice, but the ghost's voice, directly. I slowly lowered my gun, my mind immediately racing with possibilities. The dead can continue to live? The idea shook me. I smiled like I hadn't smiled in the longest time. How do you even do that? I asked immediately. If it could be possible to bring someone back, I needed to know how. It was not purpose. I was sick. I died, but my soul stayed, making me ghost. The voice cut in and out as it spoke, like it was struggling to stay connected. Still, the answer I got frustrated me. It was vague, useless information, and I still didn't understand how it worked. The ghost and the masked one murmured amongst themselves, before turning to me once again. I'll explain more inside. Croy's having trouble talking through helmet to you. We can go somewhere private, the masked one said, and after a moment of delineation, they also stuck an eerily straight arm out in my handshake. It was off-putting, but I shook their hand back. My name is Kron. What is yours? I'm Maunder. The other perspective. I'm liking Maunder. This is very interesting. I like characters, because, like, Solace is goofy, right? And so many characters just, like, accept that. They're like, all right, whatever, it's goofy. But I love when, like, someone comes in and is like, what do you mean there's a ghost here? That's why I wish Virgil had written more as Marcello. I'm excited to see Friedrich's reaction to some of this stuff. Because, like, you just have a completely normal person who's just like, what? Hi, Cece. Air Guys. Blood corpse background death. Pulling back a drifting soul. Oh, it's on Ellipsis! Let's go. Another Ellipsis user. Oh, it tells me how long it's going to take to read. That's nice. 3 months ago. It never should have happened. The past few months had shown Lux's limited power. They should have known what to expect from the people of Solace. I will say, for those of you who want to use Google Docs, but don't like all the AI stuff, that they're possibly actually most definitely scraping your documents, don't like that it's just bright and you can't have dark mode, Ellipsis is fantastic. No AI. Really, like, it has all of the same features. There's even more features than Google. Dark mode, different color themes you can do. It's great. I love it. I use it all the time. The folder, I have so many folders and organization of all of my lore for different characters. Yeah, Google is scraping your documents for AI. If you have it, if you share it with anyone, they count it as public or whatever, and so they can scrape it. It's awful. I mean, yeah, I figure, the wiki's probably being scraped too, all of my YouTube videos, but what are we gonna do? But I do use Ellipsis for writing my stuff before I put it in a Google Doc. I'm deleting Google Docs and downloading whatever alternative this is. Ellipsis is great. It doesn't cost anything. I think you can get a premium thing, but currently not much is locked behind a paywall. Yeah, I use Ellipsis all the time. It's great. Yeah. There's a little bit of quirks here and there, but it's a newer system. All right. Sure, it was too early to smooth over all conflicts, but that wasn't surprising. Ulka was no longer a problem, and Eclipse's targets were already known. Everything should have been easily resolved. After all, a mature guide could position themselves perfectly between the battles of most war-thirsty planets, and Lux was supposed to follow in their footsteps. As they settled among the star systems of their ancestors, however, they began to wonder if they truly could. Guides remained calm. But Lux struggled to maintain composure as they read the threat from Frostfire's leader, and later recognized her role in Okel's escape. Perhaps they should have paid more attention to the faction before Lux's simple request resulted in threats of godly power. But that was the curse of ignorance. You couldn't know the limits of your knowledge until it had already passed. Either way, the guards weren't trained to take on such an issue, and Lux refused to ask the peacekeepers for aid. They trusted Cam well enough, but Comet was an unpredictable fuse, and the farther Waters stayed away from Mira and Zinnia, the better. The sudden absence of Waters' acquaintance was too suspicious for Lux to trust, even with the lack of proof to do anything about it. They couldn't do anything without a source of power. At least for now, they could only hope that the two remained aloft from the Keepers and the rest of Solace. Guides stand separate from the people. When Lux first found Zenithra, cold and alone, they knew the child needed a place to stay until they could be convinced to return to Truffle. Even so, the stranger showing up at Lux's doorstep was a surprise. His questions didn't make sense. There was no connection between Seraphine and Lux. Not really. Never mind her child being within view of the doorway. Of all the judges, there was no reason to ask Lux, especially while they were staying in a house they rarely used. Something was off, and they didn't have the time to find the missing connection. They couldn't stop Zenithra from rushing forward, nor their knife from piercing the man's chest. The man's blood sprayed out across the floor as Zenithra pulled the weapon out in an expertise that did not belong to a child. All Lux could do was gasp as he fell to the floor, face stuck forever in a state of shock. They were supposed to stay calm, but the panic crept out anyway. What did you do? Wrong, wrong. Fear blossomed in the child's eyes, as if the past week hadn't happened and they were just as small and tired as they had been when Lux first saw them again. Lux's hope fled when the Zenithra did, and all they were left with was an overwhelming feeling of failure in a quickly cooling body. They stayed long enough to send a message to the hospital, as busy as they were, and closed the door for the last time. Guides maintained control. Lux was not a guide. Their heart thumped heavily as they trudged through the spring snow. At least they didn't need to worry about shelter, already heading towards one of the places built back when they had focused on exploring. This way, they could stay farther from the keepers. The shelter already designed for them to remain outside of anyone's sight, but they couldn't help the worries piling up inside their head. If the guides were still alive, maybe things would have been different. Maybe they would have shown Lux how to find the right people. Violence and Oakle could have remained under control, and Truffle could have received the support both they and Zenithra needed. The hospital was barely holding up as it was, and the law was meaningless without a way to enforce it. There was nothing Lux could do now but hope that the people of Solace could unify before disaster struck again. Maybe the elders were right, they whispered aloud. You can't change your mind now, a whine rang out. Once again, Iris had the worst timing. She didn't seem to care, though. We can't perform our duties when your brother is dead. And let's be honest, if war did break out, his impulsiveness would have gotten the whole lot massacred. Lux groaned. It's not like any of us finished our training to begin with. They could feel Iris's presence pushing towards them, as if on a breeze. Even if we did you know that half of the ancestral vaults were inaccessible even before the end? That made them stop. How? Turns out, Iris laughed, the elders kept waiting for their perfect candidates and let themselves die before they could hand their knowledge to the next generation. So we were sitting ducks, they shivered with the realization. Without the knowledge held by the wisest, the planet's specialized systems would have slowly eroded until they stopped working entirely. They would have been left with no way to escape as they slowly starved and suffocated to death. Why, of course. I doubt they would have been so willing to let you play with the guides if they actually expected us to replace their so-called sacred order. And back to the personal attacks. Don't you ever get bored? They muttered. The past is behind us. There's no point in bringing it to the present. The Waters Comet slander. Twitch started tweaking and playing the same 10-second segment over and over again? Oh no. Twitch started tweaking and playing the same 10-second segment over and over again? Oh no. Twitch started tweaking and playing the same 10-second segment over and over again? Oh no. For a moment, Lux worried they had driven her away before she finally responded. Well, it's not like you give up. They gritted their teeth as they continued their march. It's a strategic retreat. I'm no use to anyone dead. Clearly, they needed to figure out where their methods had broken down, how they had not seen the threats crowding ever closer. Besides, you love telling me I'm not a guide. You can't complain when I'm actually listening. Fine, she reluctantly agreed. Then let's have a not a guide and the not a leader work together. Oh, they could work with that. The next few months sped by as the two of them went back and forth between mapping out what Lux knew about Solace and what Iris had learned from the vaults. Lux still paid attention to their communicator, even when tragedy hit, but both of them knew there was nothing that could be done about it. They had somehow settled into a pace that felt welcoming after all the stressors of the last year. The only thing that could break it apart were the small tremors that woke Lux up one morning. They hurriedly put their shoes on and looked out the window. Dust towered above the direction of the Keepers of Solace. What had happened? It was only then that they noticed the beeping of their communicator still on the kitchen table. A ship, an unknown enemy, and the evacuation of any survivors under the support of the Solpak Navy. They needed their return. This time not as a judge of a now-destroyed faction, but as one of the many hands needed to rebuild Solace. The information Iris had parted with would let them remain safe. It wouldn't end the same as last time. They would make sure of that. And we have another frog video! Let's go. Guys is a talented writer.
All systems check. All the ship are secure.
We can start on another mission.
Good, let's get our astronaut.
Pickles accent killed me, sorry. We can start on another mission. Sorry, I won't. Oh, botanist? Biologist?
Hey Ryan, the ship is done. Would you like to come see it?
Sure. The last time I saw it, you guys added a bunch of stuff to it.
Sam the Salmon. How do we like the intro? Cap makes it so I can't change it or fix the mistake at the beginning. I didn't notice there was a mistake at the beginning. I just think that the music sounds a little crunchy, but I don't know why that is. If you have the pieces of it still, I can put it together in Premiere for you if CapCut doesn't let you like edit it all.
Well, it does look cool. It looks so different from the last time I saw it. So who's flying with me? Someone's coming with me, right? You came with me last time. Aren't you coming with me?
You're the youngest one here.
It says new also, I can't fix the music. I've been trying to fix it every video so far. Oh no.
You have more years ahead of you than we do.
I'm assuming this planet is like really far away.
You're one of our best astronauts.
Don't we have a lot of research to do on what exactly we're looking for?
We found a planet that hasn't been affected by, along with the stars and the planets that have been affected. That's the only planet that hasn't, and there's no apparent reason why.
So I'm going alone? Because you think you're old? Okay. How far is this planet? How are we gonna communicate that far away?
We're gonna be monitoring you through the ship, intercom until you land, and you can always send us a message.
Okay, I will.
When you let in, don't take off your helmet, okay? You need that to breathe. We do not know what their air is made out of.
Just message us when you land. We want to know that you're doing well.
Good luck out there, Star.
This is a cool ship. I like the design. Yo. This is sick. This is so cool. You took it?
Hey guys, can you hear me? I'm about to land. Hello? Lucan? Sam? Carl? Hello? How did they miscalculate that? Okay. Well, they certainly have a lot of...
What's with the star thing? What does that mean? I'm intrigued. What's that noise? Go like the video. Leave a comment saying star emoji sound effect. Interesting. Interesting. Miko! Vomit and implied human consumption. Ooh. Sorry. Flashbang. Day ? I've lost count of the days at this point. My electronic diary has finally lost its charge, so I'm forced to write this out on paper. Father gave me the diary because he knew I had trouble speaking out my feelings. He always said the best way to get them out is to write them down. I finally got some decent sleep for the first time in weeks. However, when I woke up, I noticed something strange about myself. I felt smaller, slimy. I transformed back into my usual human-like form. I tried to find something that would show my reflection. Then I tried to feel, and guess what I must have transformed into? Then I looked straight ahead and I realized I'd turned into a Gorf. Not the Gorf. My head started spinning. Is this real? Did this happen the way I think it did? My mind was racing. Thoughts would jump into my head, only making me feel worse. Back when we still lived on Mimosa 4, I would always try my hardest to transform into Gorfs. I had a feeling they would be more accepting of me compared to humans. Oh, for those who don't know, Gorfs are for frogs. Every time I went near a human, they'd always look at me with disgust, almost like I did something wrong to them. To wrong them. The only person to ever treat me like an equal was Father. He always had the funniest ways of trying to make sure I knew he meant no harm. The first time I met him, I was petrified. I hid as fast as I could from him. I had a feeling if I didn't, I was going to be murdered by him while he smiled. However, when I peeked back out from behind a tree, I had seen he'd stripped down to the point of almost being naked. At first I thought he might have just been trying to get me out so he could do something heinous to me. Then I realized the hours had passed, he still sat there, barely anything on, just hanging with the Gorfs. Bro was just sitting in the mud with the frogs. Just being a frog, okay. After about a day's time, I decided to go with him, and he raised me like his own. He even let me have my own little Gorf. I was still thinking, how could I possibly gain the ability to turn into a Gorf? Then it hit me. Eating Jemmy must have done something and given this to me. I would have been happy, but finally learning about how I acquire my new form scared me so much I almost passed out. I knew I had eaten things that I could transform into before, but I had never eaten a human. I had always been able to transform into everything I could, even before I could remember. Did I consume a human? The thoughts racing through my mind made me vomit. I was overwhelmed with emotions. I would never eat a human. Even if they always treated me harshly, I would never do anything to harm a human. While I was freaking out, Adolin came in to check on me. I tried my best to hide what I was feeling, but my mind was so cluttered I couldn't tell if I was doing a good job or not. She just asked to make sure I was okay, and all I said was I was just thinking about things. I could tell she wasn't trying to be pushy, because after that she just told me to take a deep breath and come out when I'm ready, then shut the door. While I'm still being cautious of these new people, I can tell Adolin is somewhat caring, at least. I'm just worried about if she has an ulterior motive or anything. For now, I got changed into some new clothes that they provided me and stepped out of my room to eat some breakfast. Oh, I hope you didn't eat a person. Uh-oh. Entry 1, Florian Clements. Real mud bath. Shout out to Mikael's daddy, a real one. We love mud baths. It has been about 3 months since I arrived on Solace. That's what I think the name of the planet is, at least. That's what I was told by some people I met. I found my daughter, Nettie. She doesn't recognize me. Given that I was in my other form when I left, that's what I got stuck in. She never saw me like this back home. She's staying with me, though, in my lab where she can be safe. I worry about her, though. I worry about how she's adjusting to this planet and how she's adjusting to the changes that her body went through. She's 10 years old. I can't help but worry. She's my daughter. She got along well with Subject 2 when he was staying with me. She also got along with Subject 5, or, well, I guess I should use their names, Angel and Salen. Angel was kind to her. He treated her as if she was his little sister, and I'm correct. And if I'm correct, I think she sees Angel as an older brother. Oh no, not another sibling! No! Salen was more reserved. I swear, if this is another sibling dies incident. Tisk tisk. Salem was more reserved. He kept to himself often unless he was around Angel. I don't have the heart to tell Nettie that I'm her father. She says such good things about me, and she always says that she misses me. I'm right here, but she doesn't know that. I don't want her to have to be upset, but if she knows that I'm her father, surely it'll make her sad. She just thinks of me as her caretaker right now, which, in theory, I am. I wish I could do more than just be her caretaker, though. On the other hand, Angel came and visited me the other day for his tests. He came alone, which is surprising. Salen is usually there. I worry about Angel, I truly do. He's a good person, and for someone like him to have to go through this is unfortunate. I would take his pain away if I could, though I do not have that ability. All we can do is wait and hope that he gets better. I'm glad he isn't dying. Salen especially was. Speaking of Salen, he and Angel seem really close. Of course, I know that they're best friends, but the two seem to have some other type of feeling towards each other. I'm not sure what it is, and I won't assume. Angel is like a son to me. I care about him a lot, and I hope he won't have to go through the stuff he did in the past. Salen treats him well. That's all I care about. My Yowie mentioned. Sangel, is that their ship name? That's great. A sibling reunion. Do Light and Lucky have a ship name? We need a really good one. Light and Lucky. Balios lore. They don't. Lakey! No! I feel like there's like, because there's like, let's see, there's something with like being lucky, you know. Stop saying licky, not licky. No, like this, like something about like the words light and like being lucky, because like you're lucky to be in love, you know. I'm sure there's something in there. Lighty. I feel like there's something better than just combining the names. Like we need something. Belios stood at the base of Light's tree, looking up at it. The memories he had showed the tragedy that made this tree possible. Only this one was formed from a seed of the other, so that it could be transported over. He had a slight smile over the chaos of the memories, but then he heard footsteps, familiar in the memories. He shut down the smile and turned to face the person walking over. "Hello, sister," Belios said, looking at Light with a soft smile. "Belios, thank the gods you're okay." Light ran over and hugged him. Belios hugged back slowly. Light froze for a moment. She felt something off, something that wasn't Belios, but she heard her reaction quickly. She pulled away after a moment and looked over Belios. He looked normal, but the smile was too forced. But she didn't say anything about it. "Where have you been? I thought you would have been stopped by the tents," Light asked. "I wanted to visit you, but the smell of the equipment was a good repellent." Belios tried to chuckle, at least make it sound like he was laughing it off, but he did say the truth. After the recurring hospital visit from before the crash, the smell of that all was not pleasant. "That's understandable," the dragon said with a nod. "I'm just glad that you're all right. When did you get back?" "Oh, I arrived a week after the crash. Adahim brought me back after my trading with Valor," Belios said calmly. Light's ears perked to the mention of her uncle. "Oh, right, you were with my uncle when the crash happened. I've been meaning to give him a visit, at least to thank him with mooncakes for my prosthetics and cane." Belios nodded. "Yeah, when the crash hit, your uncle ran to find your book because he sensed something was off." Light's ears lowered slightly. She had the sense that she wasn't being told the entire truth. Belios must have felt something across their shared connection. She knew her uncle. She knew he didn't react harshly unless something happened to give a hint of what had happened. A hint of guilt hit her hard. If Belios had felt her pain, it must have been bad. Lucky Charms? Oh my god. Lucky Charm is amazing. I can hear Virgil laughing in the other room. Lucky Charms. That's amazing. Okay. The dragon took a deep breath and nodded. "I see," she said softly. I suppose he would sense that happened. I'm going to have to make extra mooncakes to apologize for worrying him." Belios nodded again. "Make some extra to thank him for the training." "I will," Light said with a small smile. She looked at her tree for a moment, then back at Belios. "I should get on that now. Let me know if you need anything." Belios would nod once more before he walked the other way, away from her and the tree. Light's gaze followed Belios until he was out of her sight. Her brows furrowed. There was something wrong here, something she couldn't quite place. Was this really her brother, or someone pretending to be him? Ooh! Ooh! Light would know. You finished the comic! Oh, this is technically after, but I'll read it. I'll read it. I want to. Aelin discovers a new way to help people. Let me see if I can get this all in here. Hold on. Hold on. Webcam. Display. There we go. Oh, the colors in this are so good. Is everything okay, Aelin? "The Navy won't allow me to practice medicine on Solace anymore." Let me do this so you can actually see the full thing. "Oh, damn. How come? You are, like, a real doctor, right? So you've been practicing without a license for months? And, well, I wasn't eligible on Hinoki, but I do have a doctorate. And you have it with you, yes?" "Ah, I hadn't thought to take it along with me, so it's back home." "Oof, that's rough. I'm sorry, Aelin." This one's so funny! Munch. Or no, wait, it's on fire. Wait. Does she like eating them on fire? Wait! Dude! Freya and Adolin should roast marshmallows. Freya loves marshmallows. Bonding moment. Also, you should talk to Freya because I'm sure she could convince the Navy to. She's already working to have I think Light and whoever working there, even though they're not licensed or whatever. Talk to Freya. She can convince them. She prefers them on fire. Oh my god. I need Freya and Adolin to actually wait. No, I literally have a document where Freya was eating marshmallows with Marcelo and she burned it and then ate it. She was like, I like the crunch. They're the same, dude. All right. How am I supposed to help people now? What is my purpose here if not that? You can help people in other ways, like those rescue missions with Cam. Yes, but I scare people, yourself included. I can't figure out which way to, there's plenty of other stuff you can do. Like, before I came here, I was a mechanic. You can fix things. I can hardly operate my communications. Oh, I see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. I didn't even see that. I can hardly operate my communications device, much less fix it. Oh, I know. What if you delivered things for people? DoorDash, Adolin? We already have a post office, do we not? Yeah, but I sure don't want the Navy handling my mail. You could deliver packages, meet new people, might even help make you seem less scary. Even if you aren't saving people's lives, you can still help them in ways that matter. Aw, Mikal. That is a fantastic idea. Thank you, Mikal. Oh. I also think that is an excellent idea. I also think that is an excellent idea. I love the three of them. Light's going to go through the internship thing they offer her. She doesn't want to rely on others' help. Yeah, that's fair. In another universe, Frey and Adolin were besties. You're so right. I too am in this episode. Exactly. This is so great. This Loki looks like Cam. The eyes are different and the tooth, but it's amazing. Yeah. Oh, Flamingo. Who's putting the? Oh, it's Feather. Right, Feather, Flamingo. Yes. All right, and with that, that is our Lore Tuesday. What a great way! I love the way you drew this Anathi person. By the way, Eclipse, the yellow eyes. Ghost of Marcelo thinks it's an amazing idea. You thought Ghost of Marcelo? Ghost of Marcelo comes in and is like, I also think that is an excellent idea. Ghost of Marcelo. Just coming back to scare the shit out of people for no reason. Oh, that's too good. But yeah, if Adolin ever, like, talks to Freya, happens to mention, damn it, I can't work for the hospital anymore, Freya would be like, that's unfair. I will talk to Friedrich. Should I keep up with the flashbacks of last season for some videos? Just boom, Winter Ball? Ow! Saying boom, I tweaked my neck. I don't know if that's a good or bad sign. But yeah, if that's a lot of work for you, don't do it. But it was great. It also, I know it was really funny because it was abrupt, but it was also really good, like, flashback. It was angst. It was good. Actually, so in character, Marcelo, if he came back as a ghost, he'd just scare the shit out of people. Adolin doesn't have a license because you have to be pass a healing magic test on Hinoki to get one. Well, either way, like, I mean, I'm sure they could do like a training thing like Light is doing or whatever. We could keep working there, training as a nurse or whatever. The mirror looking at Marcelo shot broke me. It's fun and easy since I'm barely editing anything. Hell yeah, then do it. Alright, well, that was Lore Tuesday. Croy and him go scare people, only bonding pastime between two father figures. Oh man. god. Okay. I will be probably tomorrow announcing some sort of event, and then this weekend I think I have something, an opportunity for people. A lore opportunity. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Bye-bye.